your dislike of someone so intense, that you cannot work for the common good of the group. Psalm 133 verse 1 says, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. As his people, we should want to please God by living together in unity. And 1 Peter 3:8 says, finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, tender heart, and a humble mind. That bold fisherman, Peter, leader of the apostles, tells us that sympathy, brotherly love, and humility are all linked to unity. So the next time any of us are tempted to want to go our own way, or so angry with someone that we can't find any way, remember that God desires us to live in unity with his people and work together to work things out. Let us pray. Father, thank you for the chance to be your representative here tonight and for us to see how working together from your word helps us, because it glorifies you and it's what you ask us to do. So, Father, help us to do that. Help us to be the people that work together for unity, not that we compromise our standards, but that we work together for the unity and good of all, that we might accomplish what you've set before us. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rob.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rourke is not joining us this evening. He did call me earlier in the day to let me know. We've got an agenda, and Administrator Bowen, I believe, has some amendments.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, board members, and the public. Also, I don't want to, you'll see a green fan over there that you on the corner. We had a skunk that visited us last weekend for 2 days, and the judge couldn't operate in here because it got so bad. So I had to bring in ServPro. But anyway, I did know that Billy Colburn showed up, but the skunk is not here anymore. But anyway, they didn't get rid of him. But anyway, I just wanted to make that little dig. Amen. Thank you, Billy, for being kind-hearted. Amendment, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to remove E4, E5, E6, and E7 public hearings. The siting agreement public hearing was canceled because of those storms, and at first I was thinking about we messed up, but we had a lot of damage to the town of Crewe and different areas, so we need to keep them in our prayers too. I'd like to remove the presentation of the Ampliform, that's F, okay. Also remove J1. Of course, again, we'll take up that resolution April 9th, doing that public hearing. I would also like to add J3. That is, the public doesn't have that in front of them, but you can read that. That is to add it's a VACO is not supporting the collective bargaining that's going on right now with the General Assembly, and that's a resolution that they're asking counties to come in because this could cost the counties a lot of money in the future. So I think that should take care of it, sir. I know it's a lot, but I appreciate your patience.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a amendment to the agenda. And since he's adding to it to be J3, I'd like it to be J4. And that'd be the Code of Virginia 17.1-281, assessment fees that the county can adopt for each court case, circuit, general district, and juvenile domestic relation for renovation, maintenance, or construction of a new court facility, or maintain the current one.
All right. That's going to be for discussion.
Yes, sir. Or maybe even for a motion to adopt
I
it.
think we have it.
We have it?
I think we do. Did we?
You mean we've already done that?
Yeah,
I think so.
we did it last summer.
Let's discuss it, and by then, that'll give Ms. Kelly a little time to do homework to make sure we
I was
get it.
informed recently, like this week, that
Okay.
we did not.
Well, we got some
Let's talk
discussion.
about it, all right?
But that's good.
Okay,
I
we've
know you're
got some
trying to get
changes.
money.
We've got some changes, and in addition, 2 additions to our agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, in regards to those things that are removed, we have some new dates, and so I'm going to say those for the record. These will be advertised. So as Mr. Bowen said, the storm messed up the course of business. So Thursday, April 9th, there'll be a public hearing in this building for the siting agreement. Planning Commission is Tuesday, April 21st, to approve the siting or discuss the siting agreement. And then the siting agreement will be back before this board on April 23rd at 7. And that will add back all of those items that were removed tonight. The siting agreement has to come first. All right, we have minutes, March 2nd, 2026 joint meeting with the school board. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Any changes or amendments? All right, I'll take a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the school board
March
adjourning.
2nd, 2026.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, pass 4-0. Now we've got delegations from the public. And we had two sign-up sheets. We have regular delegations, and then we have the public hearing for the sale of property. I see two names on both sheets. Jed and Rebecca, were you speaking twice? Yes. Okay. We'll do Mike Hallinan first, 270 Dogwood, Burkeville, Virginia. Yes. Come on up to the mic, sir. We're gonna do 5 minutes.
I'm just a concerned citizen. I guess Blackstone Police, Crew Police, county police officers, and state police do not need to use turn signals. State trooper passed me the other day, coming to the courthouse, got on the exit ramp, got in my lane, no turn signal. Took the exit ramp, no turn signal. I didn't know when we got stop sign, it was going right, left, straight. He took a right, got to the courthouse, took a right, no turn signal. I've been behind the county police, crew, Blackstone, they just put their brake lights on, make a turn, no signals. 58 years ago, when I took my learner's permit, there was a question on application that said, how far in advance do you need to apply your turn signal to let other motorists know your intentions? So I guess they're all above the law.
They're not. Thank you for coming to speak about it.
Second, I seen where the EMTs want to raise. I do not have a problem with that. I have a problem with them using the units for their own personal taxis. I've been down here at Blackstone, at the Walmart. Come in, it's running. Oh, something's going on in Walmart. Oh no, come out. They come out with 2 bags, put them in the back of the vehicle, follow them back to crew. Come to Mitchell's one night, there's 3 units sitting out there running. They're in there eating dinner. A couple of weeks ago, there was one down here in Blackstone. He came out, he drove up to the smoke shop, and I followed him back to crew. I don't have a problem giving them a raise, but I do have a problem with them using it for my personal taxi, because that's my tax dollar at work. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming to speak. All right, Jed, 5th District.
Good evening, folks. How we doing?
Good evening.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I'll try to make this short. Aside from the fact that the notice for the hearing for the sale of 55 acres continues to be legally insufficient for multiple reasons, after a few months now poring over the financial records of the county, it's irrefutable that Pickett Park is profitable. The month-over-month loss that you mentioned understand how you get to that observation. It's simply not so. You've stated that people want you to make cuts. I don't think they want you to make cuts to revenue. You said you want smaller government. Well, Pickett Park's not governing anything. So if you proceed to sell it, it's actually going to be a very, very bad thing for the county. 15 to 20 cent increase in the property taxes will be the floor if you sell it, not the max. Keeping it, you might be able to get away with only a 4 to 5 cent increase. So I strongly recommend that. I would ask that you very much take the time and consider what I'm saying to you. I've offered you the numbers before. Nobody came to me and asked for them. I'm not going to call you each up and try and lecture you to death. But all that aside, I really, really hope you change your mind and take on the living endowment that Pickett Park is and treat it as something that can save this county in multiple ways. But barring that, the hearing packet that was advertised specifically indicates, as well as past meetings, that Ward Burton Foundation intends to use REPI funding to purchase this property, as well as the Officers Club and the 183 acres. With regard to Pickett Park, the minute you touch that REPI funding, it comes with mandatory relocation assistance under both federal and state law, which will amount to between $2.4 and $3 million that y'all haven't budgeted for. So you're getting $700,000 for the privilege of paying $2.3 million more out to all these folks that you're displacing. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
No, sir.
Never heard that before?
No, sir.
No, that is federal law. It also triggers just the planning for REPI funding. It triggers mandatory procedures that you must engage in prior to having a hearing, prior to releasing a letter of intent or engaging in negotiations. And unless there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that y'all haven't mentioned, I don't see where y'all have done that. So it will actually be unlawful to proceed with that hearing tonight. And when I say unlawful, it has ramifications both for the board and for each of you individually. So I strongly suggest before taking on this hearing tonight that you have a quick powwow and maybe whip out that phone and look up the Uniform Relocation Assistance Act and the application of REPI funding. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Sonny Abbott.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Bowen,
Good evening.
good evening. Please see me as a resident of the county and not in any other capacity. The questions I'm asking tonight are based on statements by the auditor. The auditor states, and I quote, "The reconciled cash balances does not accurately reflect the true cash position of the county," end quote. That was June 30th, 2025. Because of this and other recommendations by the auditor, I ask, what procedures have been implemented to ensure accounts are recorded on the general ledger and reconciled monthly to statements? What procedures have been added to ensure all necessary accruals are identified, recorded, and reversed in a timely manner? Who has the board selected to review the reconciliation to strengthen internal controls over cash reporting? Has this person received training to ensure that they have the skills to ensure the appropriate accounting procedures are followed? Do we know the true cash balance of the county to date? I've raised concerns month after month on the lack of required content as outlined by the Code of Virginia, which I believe should be provided by the treasurer. Now, I understand and recognize two things. There is a problem with the Bright system, and the treasurer now has a service dog that's been reported is because of me. Now, I hope if she has a service dog, it does her well. When it comes to the Bright system problem, apparently there isn't an accounting plan B. Therefore, responding to questions might reduce concerns, and if there is support for the auditor's recommendations. Hopefully, we'll hear from the board with answers. If not provided tonight, I'll look forward to hearing or receiving documentation stating the board's position on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Abbott? Then we have Rebecca, 5th District.
My name is Rebecca, and I'm one of the many people that will be displaced. My daughter and I have actually worked on Fort Pickett with the Department of Defense contractors. We work at many, many military bases across the eastern part of the nation, from Minnesota to Texas east. If it wasn't for Fort Pickett letting us cross their boundaries and getting onto county land, we would have nowhere to stay in the wintertime. If we lose our place out here, I don't know what we're gonna do. We started out in my car and a tent, and we worked up to a camper. We're gone during the summertime because my daughter actually managed to get a full-time job with a road construction company in Minnesota. But that still leaves us without somewhere to stay if there's nowhere here for us to keep our camper. Especially now since I've become more disabled than I was due to a job injury. And I've not been able to work. So trying to move out of here, which is what we have actually been working on for just over 2 years, has not been going very well. It really concerns me, Nottoway County. I wanted to move here. I wanted to be part of this county. I grew up in Maryland till my dad moved us all to Texas. And in 2016, we started coming back out to Virginia to look somewhere to live, find jobs, and live out here. We ended up on Fort Pickett because of West effects, and also because of Barbaricum out of Washington, D.C., that works with the Fast C out here. We did a capstone out here in March of 2017. May, June, we did West effects work. We were Op 4. We did battlefield effects technician. I don't know if any of you gentlemen know what that is, but we're role players. We are a very important part of training because we do what we're told. We behave in ways that the military's not used to when we do the civilian work as far as civilians on the battlefield. But we still do this kind of work. Some places we've been would be Virginia Beach at Fort Story, AP Hill, Summit Point Training Center, which is where Fast C used to be before they moved it all down here. I'm very concerned because I've heard many people talking about how they had to get this particular license so that they could continue on with their house building, and how when it never happened, because the person from the county never went out, they ended up paying for their own and they still had to pay the county. I've thought for a long time that there should be a Ways and Means Committee and an Oversight Committee, especially now that this land is being sold the way it's being sold. I'm wondering where all the revenue has gone, brought in from the campground and from the lodge and the buildings on this 54.5 acres. Why has it not been reinvested in those properties? Things falling down around our ears out there, and it's just wrong. It should be done better by the county. We're on county land. We are not on Fort Pickett land. Yes, if there was a single problem with any of us that live in that area, we would be stopped at the gate by the gate guard, which is very appropriate. But there is no problem with any of us because we cross those borders quite often throughout the week to come and go and do the shopping or go to work or whatever else the folks out there do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was the final delegation from the public. Did anybody miss the sign-up sheet before we brought it up here? Anyone want to speak? All right, that closes delegations from the public. Now we're going to move on to E1. You want to introduce this one, Mr. Bowen?
Yes, sir. Again, do that. Mr. Chairman, this is disposition of the public property on Military Road at West 10th Street, Parcel. Ward Burden Wildlife Foundation has offered the county $700,000 for the 53-acre barracks area, also contained within tax parcel 4369. This portion is referenced in Exhibit C. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, that is really what this public hearing is all about. And you've heard some speakers already about it.
All right, I need a motion to open the public hearing. E1, disposition of public property, Military Road at West 10th Street Park.
I so move.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public hearing is open. All right, we're going to have Jed, 5th District.
So obviously, you heard what I said earlier, very serious about that. The fact that I'm up here again is kind of disappointing. I was really hoping that you'd say, you know what, we need to reconsider. That sounds pretty serious. It is serious, very serious. As Rebecca said, there's a lot of folks out there, been out there for a long time, and there's never been any problems. It's not a security issue. There's an organization called CFIUS, the Council on Foreign Investment in the U.S., that monitors for potential foreign holdings within military perimeters. Virginia passed its own law last year with Delegate Ware's assistance that ensures that if any property is sold to a foreign nation, then the state just reverses the sale, takes the property, the seller gets to keep their money, and the buyer is out. It's done. There's all the means by which Quantico Marine Base ensures that the whole town in the middle of its base doesn't have any problems. There's no reason that can't be done here. It was offered when an individual tried to purchase his business's property. He offered to do exactly that. You know, put it in the deed, make sure that it was carried forward, that, you know, nobody could ever purchase it or from another nation or do anything odd with it. It kept everything within the limits of compatible use, as you know, defined in the original conveyance of the property from the Army to Nottoway County. It's, to the rest of us, it's absolutely mind-boggling that this is even a question, the security side of it. As I said, I can see why you may think that Pickett Park is not profitable and is a drain. It's all in how you're looking at the money and how that money has been changed in its accounting over the last 25 years. In the last 3 years, there have been significant changes to how it's reported. It's much better reporting now, but we've also basically experienced some bad luck. We had to replace 3 buildings' water heaters to multiple tens of thousands of dollars. Well, surprise, it was 80-year-old water heaters. That has to happen. Unfortunately, it also happened at the time when we were worried about the rail spur. While that's technically LRA property, LRA is not necessarily Fort Pickett, and Fort Pickett is not the entirety of LRA. I'm sorry, not Fort Pickett, Pickett Park. Easy to get confused in the wording there. The money from the timber sale from LRA land was used to pay for that rail spur, and therefore the LRA in Pickett Park are blamed for that expense. That was truly a county expense. That should have just been road maintenance. And that was done under your predecessor, Mr. Costin. You were on the board when that happened, correct? Mr. Bowen?
Yeah,
You can just nod.
if you're talking about, and I know we're not here to listen, but because of the public hearing. But if you're talking about the last timber sale, that money, we haven't spent that last timber sale. That money is earmarked right now to be utilized to match grants according to this board with the direction you give me. So,
Okay, we're not.
but anyway, I just
Citizens' time.
want to clarify that.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Right.
I'm not so worried about germane comments. Yeah.
Right.
So, anyway, whether that money is spent or not, LRA and Pickett Park are blamed for that in the eyes of the public. The public sees Pickett Park as being funded year by year by taxpayer dollars, when in fact, from its inception, Pickett Park and the LRA have funded itself and siphoned money off into the general fund. It has always been a benefit to this county, just as it was designed to be, and it will continue to be a benefit so long as it's not allowed to rot. You mentioned, no, it wasn't you that said it, I'm sorry. It was mentioned the number of roofs that need to be fixed. Yes, there are quite a few. More disrepair has come to my attention since the start of this in December. And I can look at it and say 2 years ago when I was actively working on all these buildings, that stuff wasn't there. It's there because it's being neglected currently. You have a significant amount of money funded for repairs in Fort Pickett right now, Pickett Park, and none of it is being spent. That's as of the February, month-over-month action.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's got about 20 seconds left to reach his 5 minutes.
Okay,
I'm fine.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have Doc McGee.
Make that last two.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisors.
Good
Mr.
evening,
Bowen.
sir, thank you.
I'm here to talk about the 55 acres, obviously, because that's what I signed up for. When we had a conversation about this sometime past, Mr. Collins made comments 3 times that the LRA account and stuff had been dissolved. The thing that we've got to remember is we received that property for a very specific reason. It was named Pickett Park. There's stone on the right-hand side going into the main gate that has all of the businesses' names that exist there. I've been out there since 2011. I've negotiated with this board to purchase the property that I'm on. I was asked to make an offer letter, which I did. Y'all thought it was too low. You had an appraiser come out. The appraiser came in a little bit more, 16,000 more than what I offered. Mr. Bowen called me and said, "Hey, will you match it?" I moved forward in fair and good faith. Mr. Bowen called me back and said, "Oh, well, we want you to hold off because we want to sell it to the Army." And I told him, I said, "Well, that's not going to happen because you can't do that. You'd be unbracking property." And so, you guys know exactly how we got here today, but all I can tell you is that when we get talking about, as Mr. Toth has said, oh, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need HVAC guys. Well, guess what? The business that you're displacing, that you're not worried about, even though I put my business there because that's what the business of Pickett Park was. At any rate, you do what is on your conscience. But I'll tell you, it's not, we've talked about it's going to make all this interest, but now with where you borrowed the money on the Animal Control Center and they are asking for you to pay in full because you're selling land, tell me how much interest you're going to make off of zero.
All right, we've got Rebecca, 5th District.
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. When I first got there in 2017 and started learning about the campground and the buildings around, I actually went to the county over here, and they printed me out this huge map of the campground. You could literally double the size of that campground, bring in a lot more revenue. A lot of these military that are going to be coming in for training, you could actually build either cabins or have what they call rental trailers. Other places have done it. AP Hill has done it. You could not really turn it into an MWR because there's nothing really to do here in Blackstone, sad to say. The bowling alley can't even stay open. And the land outside the gate that was supposed to be sold so that it could have apartments over little stores that was supposed to be in there, even that got shut down. And that's just crazy. It's why is Nottoway County shutting down the ability to make money and to make this place profitable? I would love to be able to come back here year after year after year. But it's like the county is killing the town. And that's really terrible because the county should be helping build up the town. There's a lot of things that go on out there at Pickett Park that you folks probably don't know, but there's a lot of things that shouldn't be going on at Pickett Park because reinvestment has not continually happened to keep buildings up to date, to refurbish buildings, to make it easier for other buildings to be used for businesses or to be sold. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Got Mr. Tom Inge.
Okay.
You're fine. Ward Burton. Okay. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter that missed the sign-up sheet? All right. Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Come on up. Doris. Okay. Dolores or Doris?
Dolores.
Dolores.
Yes.
And where are you from? You from this district?
Yes, I am. I live at Pickett Park. And
Okay.
I'm a little bit appalled at the fact that that's being considered as a security risk, and I'll tell you why. In 2024, I had breast cancer. I had nobody to take care of me. The people at Pickett Park took care of me. Had a second surgery. I was out of work for 6 months. The other people that took care of me were CIA agents and FBI agents that lived next door. We have been there a long time. I don't think the police has ever been called out there, except for one time we thought a terrorist had moved in next to us. However, it is not a security risk, and I'm very upset that it's even been considered as a security risk when you have federal agents in their campers. Also, the former colonel that was in charge of Fort Pickett brought his mother out, put her camper next to us. She lives off and on in that camper, and I guess she's moved out, but the camper's still there, and that colonel still comes and stays on our base occasionally. So I don't think a colonel of the United States Army or the FBI or the CIA would come out there in their camper and stay on a place that was considered a security risk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's our last name on the public hearing sign-up sheet. Take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Catherine, could you come up to the mic? So the funding is the REPI funds. It would go to the Ward Burton Foundation and then come to us as the purchase price. Are you aware of this relocation situation?
If it's a federal law that he was referring to, I'm not familiar with it offhand. However, I do know that the county has a right and every right to negotiate for the sale and purchase of property, and that's, in my opinion, what you guys have done, so.
Okay. Did you see any problem with our advertising? I think you reviewed it.
No, I assisted with the advertising. I helped draft the advertising, and it is a perfectly legal advertisement.
Okay. Board members, do you have any more discussion? Mr. Ingram, anything?
I've got February 28th statement from the LRA. The rent was $32,889.94. There were checks written for expenses of $34,851.74. 39,000, excuse me. Made my 9 look like a 4. So there was a loss of $6,961.80 at the LRA last month. That was a 28-day deal. When I first got on this board in 2023, I did not know that the county was renting property. It kind of took me aback. I couldn't see why the county was in the business of renting property. I really don't understand, because I wasn't around when this thing went down and everything else. I was around when I drove the Pepsi-Cola truck at Pickett for 4 years, 4 summers when I was in college, and I know that those buildings were old then. And that was 67, 68, 69, and 70. So I went to BOQs, I went to the motor pools, I went everywhere. Those buildings were old. And as a landlord, again, I go back to the fact, I don't think the county should be in the business of being a landlord. That's my feelings.
Let me make a comment also, Mr. Chairman, if you give me a moment. You know, we're looking, and I think that was the workaround, I'm not sure. The local redevelopment authority could rent property. But it seems, and Catherine, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, because our legal team is working on this now. If we rent somewhere at the Burkeville School, let's just put this off to the side anyway, I'm supposed to do a public hearing. I got the same thing. Yes. Okay. I think he's right. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, anyway, I just want to clarify that.
Yes, if you rent property, you have to have one if you dispose of county property, you have to have one public hearing. If you rent, so like if you want to rent it out, if you want to sell it, you have to have a public hearing.
Like we did the bowling alley?
Correct. But you had a public hearing.
Right.
It was just.
And I guess the LRA, being an authority, is like the IDA authority. They have different powers than the board does.
Well, different powers and different obligations, requirements, that's what the LRA was for.
Right.
To manage rental properties, to manage county property, and that is being phased out.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the things that has troubled me about the property is that there are empty buildings in our towns. And so you've got rents that are not market rate in Pickett Park. For instance, I think one of the rooms in the lodge, it's a small suite, is $350, and that includes your utilities. A suite apartment in town was more likely to be $1,000.
Without utilities.
Without utilities. I know of at least one business that used to be downtown that then moved to Pickett Park because of the reduced rent. So if we were to change directions and decide that, okay, we're all going to keep the property, the citizens of the county no longer need to subsidize the rents. They would need to pay you'd have to actually pay the cost, even if it became a break-even situation. So those are my thoughts on it. I know that we've got lots of rental properties in town, apartments. There's no campground, but the zoning could be changed either in town or in the county to have a place for a campground. Those are my thoughts on it.
Ms. Collins, would we consider reaching out to the town of Blackstone and seeing if they have any available property that this campground can be relocated?
We spoke about that. They would have to have a zoning in addition to their zoning ordinance, and then a property would have to be rezoned. So it's not impossible. That's been discussed, so.
Well, didn't we reach out to all 3 towns
We did,
to see if they had any space available that could be used?
we did.
I thought.
And then you come up with the same problem, folks, and I'm sorry you're gonna be displaced. But the disparity in the rent, the cost, we don't have the money to continue to feed into that property to fix it. We don't. And the rental disparity, it's just, we'd have to exponentially raise your rent, and it still would not break even.
Any other discussion, Mr. Chairman?
I've said my thoughts.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we move this to unfinished business, study it further, bring it into the work session next month, put it on the agenda, and then bring it back. I don't think we'd have to publicly advertise it again, will we? Since it's already been one
We've
time.
had,
I mean, if you already had a public hearing on it, but if anything changes, you would need to re-advertise.
Okay.
so we don't have to take action tonight. We can research further.
We can put it on unfinished business?
Correct.
All right, my motion stands. Oh, well, we already
We
done
already
that.
did, we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Keep it straight, keep it straight.
That's right, keep it straight.
Mr. Chairman, he got a motion on the floor. I don't know if you, I'll shut up and let you second, and I apologize for discussion. The reason, what I'm going to tell you is, and maybe you need to ask Mr. Inge to come up here, the money that they're receiving, as long as this thing's delayed, could affect whether they have the $700,000. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Inge? I'm trying to.
Mr. Ince, could you come up to the microphone? So the REPI funds, could you tell us the source of those funds that the Ward Burton Foundation uses?
Right, so REPI is a program that originated through Congress and comes down separately than from DOD money, but it's there to help for encroachment for the military bases. But the $700,000 is, we have availability for that money right now. The main problem is longer that we wait. Fort Pickett is one of the top ACUP bases in the country because we spend our money fast. And all of our projects are win-win-win. We're very sorry for any displacement, but we're looking at the overall greater need for national security. And the longer that money is held, the more likely Fort Pickett might get less money for next year. So it is important to move fast.
Have you had displacements on other projects?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're not familiar with
Not familiar with displacements at all.
No, sir.
consequences of that?
That's my purpose of
Right.
putting it on unfinished business, so we can explore what the legalities is of that, the federal legalities.
I do know there's displacement programs run by different agencies. FEMA has displacement programs to help people that, with any type of issue that they might have with emergency situations to relocate. Right. The military has relocation fees. All of them have different eligibilities that I'm not an expert with that.
Well, that's what, so let's go ahead and finish. I've got a motion on the floor to put this in unfinished business and take it to the work session. Do I have a second?
Without a second, Mr.
Motion-
Chairman.
motion failed.
It dies, yep.
Anyone else wish to make a motion? All right.
Guess
Hearing
I'm gonna be
none,
the bad guy. I don't think we have any choice, really. And I would hope that the Ward Burton Foundation would work with these folks to give them some time and help them relocate and that type of thing. But I can't see us continuing to drag us on. We've been working on this thing for a while. And I'll make a motion, we move forward with the sale.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Motion dies.
Motion dies.
Motion dies. All right, that was 2 votes and
You
you,
voted, Mr. Chairman? You voted no?
I voted no.
Okay.
I've found things that I don't know, and I can't in good conscience vote until I know those things.
Likewise.
Look, just asking the question, Mr. Chairman. Why didn't, if you can do that, why don't you, and I don't know, Jed, who doesn't have a last name, is a lawyer or not, I don't know. But why couldn't you have made a motion and said, hey, I'm still to sell the property as long as we're not breaking any federal rules, laws, and then you can have our legal team say yay or nay.
Or why didn't we do it and put it on unfinished business and carry it to the work session and give us time to figure all this out and then come back?
So are you willing to put it back on the docket for business at the work session?
I'll remake my motion that we do that, even though the motion to sale was killed.
So on the legal side of that,
Ms. Catherine,
we had the public hearing.
The question is, does this land belong to the federal government now?
It was gifted to the county.
That's what I'm saying.
the
Belongs
funds,
to
the
county,
funds
right?
are congressionally mandated, as we heard Mr. Inge say. And so then, the information we learned that is if we sell the property to the Warburton Foundation, this property is going to transfer immediately to DMA, is my understanding. Is the county then responsible for displacement costs? And that's the legal question.
It's certainly something I'm happy to look at ASAP. And
Mr.
report-
Inge, if you could also contact your folks, people that would know.
Just because since you've not had any displacement previous experiences.
Yeah, I'm sure someone has.
Yeah, and I'm happy to work with you guys to make sure that we're on the same page there as well. If you want to,
So the question is, do we approve the sale pending legal review of federal rules? Or do we carry it to a work session under unfinished business?
The only concern I've got about the federal rules is there could be, according to the little reading that I've been doing here, there could be some fines imposed. You wouldn't necessarily be, they wouldn't even be fines. We would have to give the replacement of those citizens some funds.
well, let
And
me.
we want to check into that. I said could. That's what that's
Yeah,
the reason I
and-
want to move it to the
and-
side.
Yeah, we're not sure of any eligibility requirements. We're not sure if this meets that at all. We can't say one way or the other right now. I would hate to speculate even, just because I don't want
Well,
to lead
let's
you
not,
guys
that's why
astray.
we're not, that's why
Right.
we're not
I think
doing that.
whether you take a vote and pending legal review, I think it needs to be specifically taken a vote in that way. Or you can table it and put it to the work session. I think either way is fine. Also, some of these things, I would imagine, could be worked if there are fees or displacement costs, that might be something, and we find that they're applicable, that might be something we can even work out or discuss further legally. But it's up to you guys. But regardless, me and my team will look immediately at this issue.
Mr. Ingram, I want you to know that if it's a clean deal, I'm all for it.
So let me make sure I understand. Is it because it's at Fort Pickett? Because that means anybody, I got somebody in the school right now. I got to displace them. If we're getting out to rental,
I think it would, just me guessing, I'm not an attorney, but I would say just thinking out loud that if the land was acquired through the federal government, which Burkeville Elementary was not, it may have some other laws that
but
has
it's
to be
not
followed.
being acquired by the
Yes,
federal.
the federal government gave it to the county.
No,
But it's county property now,
It is.
correct?
But
It's county property, the county is selling it
To not federal government.
to not the federal
But it was
government.
given to
Federal
us
funds.
from the federal government. So that may come with some restrictions to what we,
No, I don't,
No.
the sale doesn't,
I'm talking about as far as the displacement goes.
the
Only
receipt
the
of-
displacement.
The receipt of federal funds is what the content, is the question, does that trigger this federal displacement cost associated with the seller?
Right.
Well, I'm looking at what Zib, whatever his name is.
Jib.
The Uniform Relocation Assistant and Real Property Acquisition Act of 1970 is displacements of residents from federal property.
That's right. Not-
This is
Federal
not
property.
federal
That-
property,
that's
but
right.
we need to look into it.
I
Right.
can, I can make sure if that's what you guys want.
I'm not taking,
Okay.
I don't want to speculate. I have no knowledge of anything that would impact this moving forward.
okay.
Let me ask a question, Catherine. If we come back, we have to have another public hearing?
No, you've already advertised for a public
Okay.
hearing, so you've had it, you've heard the public's opinion. You can take a vote.
All right, so.
As long as there's no
what-
changes.
As long.
Let me
right,
ask this
To
question.
the terms.
What would be wrong, once we get our legal opinion and we know we're right, what would be wrong with having a special call meeting just to vote on this?
We're just doing it in regular business. We're doing a work session.
But the work session's gonna be next month.
Is that gonna hamper, is
Well,
that
we
gonna
could-
hamper
yeah,
the
if you wa-
funding?
If you're worried about the funding,
That's what I'm saying.
Work session's April 9th.
that'd be fine. with me.
April 9th is a work session. Will that hamper y'all? The funding? He said no.
Yeah, we don't.
He said no. So I moved that we do that. I table it to the work session. That's my motion that I reapply to the floor again.
Motion to reconsider.
A motion to reconsider. Thank you, Mr. Abbott.
I've got a motion to reconsider tabling it for the work session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion to carry, motion to reconsider carried 4-0.
And Mr. Chairman, I have no problem having relocation assistance, comparable housing, relocation services, that the county help them in some way to relocate. But finding comparable is going to be difficult, but
It doesn't
nobody-
exist.
It doesn't exist in this community. But I have no problem with this board finding some sort of mechanism or agency to help these displaced people.
We've
I don't
got
have any
organiz-
problem with that either. I
We've
mean,
got
I just-
organizations called STEPS as one. We got Section 8 housing, and I strongly encourage them to seek out those. We do have a lot of that in Nottoway County.
All
Got
right,
a lot of empty buildings in Nottoway County too.
Unfortunately, Mr. Ingram, you're right. And some of them's at Pickett Park.
all right, we've completed a vote.
A lot of them
This
at
is, we're
Pickett Park.
carrying it to work session. We're going to have public hearing on E2. This is a rezoning, Ann and Ronald Carr, Cox Road. Mr. Zodi?
Yep, tissue.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. I squeezed too much.
All right, good evening, Board. What you're hearing tonight is a request by Dr. Ann Carr on Cox Road. This is heard at the February 17th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Ms. Carr is along that, Dr. Carr, excuse me, is along that stretch of Cox Road where there's...
Hang on a second, Greg, we've got some departures here. Let the
So we
noise-
can hear you. We can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Let them,
Let the people. Almost. All right, continue, Mr. Zodi.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're looking at a request to rezone 7 acres of Dr. Carr's property and Mr. Carr's property located on 1580 Cox Road. This used to be the old Blackstone Veterinary Office. Sometime in the past, before my time, about approximately 500 feet off the road, edge of the road, it was zoned general business, where Dr. Carr's former clinic was located. Now she's since moved about, I think, one parcel over. And, excuse me, and this tax map number is 43-42. What she'd like to go to is rural residential. That's adjacent properties, and we've done this in the past. I believe it's Blackstone Rentals, when you all first started, your terms first started a couple of years ago. And that was the same case with them. They wanted to sell it, but part of it was general business. And technically, according to zoning ordinance, you cannot have a structure, a residential structure, in the general business district. And I think it's good for the applicant to be able to sell this as a home, and then in the future, if it's approved for rezoning to rural residential, to be able to, sell, cut 1 acre off and sell it. As I mentioned, staff gave this a recommendation, a strong recommendation, and the Planning Commission recommended to approve with a vote of 10-0. I would like to point out 2 things. First, at the Planning Commission level, I did not receive any emails or phone calls or walk-ins regarding this particular application. Second thing is, after I sent out the notifications, adjacent property letter notifications to the same surrounding folks at Dr. Carr's office or the subject property, I did not receive any phone calls, voicemails, or emails regarding this application. So staff does recommend this rezoning request from general business to rural residential.
Okay, I'd like a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Ronald Carr, Cox Road. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, pass 4-0. Any board discussion?
I move we approve the rezoning.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass 4-0. We've got E3, rezoning Nottoway County Military Road at Darville's Road. Mr. Zodi?
Yes, sir. This property is located in front of the main gate on Military Road, on the southeast corner of Military Road and Darville's Road. This contains approximately, I believe it's 65 acres, 67 acres. And it's currently occupied by 2 structures. One is the guest visitor center to Fort Pickett, and the other one is where the Mid-Atlantic Broadband Company has a substation there. This site was heard originally in January by the Planning Commission, but Planning Commissioner thought that a new tax ID should be applied to this.
Oh, did what?
A new tax ID
Oh,
should
okay.
be applied to this
I
because
couldn't hear you because of that fan.
Well, I'm sorry, I'll speak louder. The thing is that we've had multiple parcels, still part of Fort Pickett, or Pickett Park, that are still hold that tax map ID number of 43130, I believe it is.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay, and when somebody's going to purchase it, they're going to get it surveyed, and then they'll go to the clerk of the court and everything, and they'll get a new parcel ID. And that's why I explained that I spoke to our council's partner, or co-counsel, and he said that's correct. And that's what I told the Planning Commission I was going to do. And I don't know what the issue was with that, but that's neither here nor there. We're here now. There are a few water features on the site, but some indications of wetlands and whatnot. You do have the spur running through this property, and that cuts down transects Warehouse Road right before you go through the gate and everything. But again, staff recommended approval. Staff has not heard from anybody. I notified Virginia Tech, the Gomez property on the southwest corner of Darville's and Military Road, nothing. And also sent it to adjacent property owners over and around Dominic Corner. So staff has not heard anything presently nor in the January meeting. Okay. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval of vote of 10-0.
And it has been surveyed, correct?
No, it's
Not
just
yet.
they're using the spur or the road. as the line between the
But I
two.
mean, as far as, what I mean is 65.6 acres that's away from the, or inside of the 375.79 acres. That's inside of it, correct?
Yes. And
So
I
you,
would-
you
I
made
would
mention
update
of a
that.
different tax map number. The only thing that would change that to such as a 43-130A would be a survey.
If they break the parcel.
Yeah.
So how can we describe the 65.6 acre? I mean, how is it being described?
It's not. I mean, it's because since we purchased that property, or we were given that property during BRAC in the late 90s, my understanding, or my just assumption, is that we received this block of land and it was under 43-130. Then we broke up for Fast C, and I believe several other parcels in that area. We sold off some to FDC, which is Mr. Fred Circle's property, as well as the Forest Products.
I'm
And-
familiar with those.
Yeah, so that's, and Mr. Toth, to answer your question, I don't write those. I don't-
Okay.
When you look at it, you've got hard lines here. That's the road. Yeah. And so you're,
And it's not like you're selling it.
no, it's
So
not
it-
breaking the parcel.
Right, so what, my question was, why the planning commission would like a different tax map number?
Mr.
If it was
Ingram, if
being
you'd like to, I can defer to you. I have, Mr.
Is this the property that we sold to Ward Bird? We're working on it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Hey,
and
this-
Part of it.
yes.
yeah, it's going
I
from
think
light
it-
industrial to airport district.
I think that tax parcel has other,
It does.
it has other property in
Yeah, that's what
Pickett
I'm
that
saying.
has the
Yes,
same
sir.
parcel. That's why they.
And it's big one, just one
No,
parcel,
no, like
375.
was another parcel inside, they didn't connect to it, it's got the
Several of
same
them.
number.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
It's
When this government gave us that land, they called one parcel, but it was land here, and land there, and it
So
wasn't
this
even.
it'll get a new parcel number once the sale happens.
Once the sale happens.
Right now, we're defending the airport
By rezoning.
by putting
Right.
the develop, airport overlay on it.
For
so
future
that-
development.
So that the airport's protected from a tall building or
Yeah,
towers.
that's right.
or-
And it says approximate, so no survey would be needed. It's not exactly,
Right.
although
And-
it sounds like it's exactly 65.6, but when you look at what the request is, it's approximate.
And you've got the old runways right here.
And also, I would mention that, the estimation is based on just myself drawing a polygon, drawing a line around the map on the GIS, and that calculates the area in acres.
That's the topography.
Yes, sir. And, yes, sir.
Mr. Toth, it's like the old surveys, more or less.
More or less,
Yeah.
gross and bound.
Yeah,
I
they
like
could do
'em.
rods or, whatever the old
That's
school
an old oak
measurements.
tree with the
All right, now
staple.
I've lost track of myself. We're going to open a public hearing.
Yeah, he was introducing, I think.
Yeah,
You've introduced it? I'll take a motion to open a public hearing
I
on
so
the
move.
matter.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is open, 4-0. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, I'll take a motion to close the
I'll
public.
make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Public hearing is closed, 4-0.
I make a motion to approve the LRA rezoning from L1 to AD.
I'll second.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried 4-0, the rezoning was approved. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Greg,
sir.
Thank you for your succinct presentation. Okay, that
Good seeing you,
completes-
Dr. Carr. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Dr. Carl.
Night.
So this concludes our public hearings as we did amend our agenda. We have amended the agenda to remove F.
Yes, sir.
We're moving on to department reports. And we'll see who's here. Do we have a,
Virginia Department of Transportation, Mr. Paul Henson called me yesterday, and they are really short-staffed, and they got people in different places, and he said, Steve, my report is in your package, I'll send it to you, but he did
clean up from the storm?
right, well, yeah, and he wanted to give a shout-out to, and I won't take away Buddy's fire, I'm sure Buddy's gonna do a two-minute presentation tonight. I like to give a hard time. Give Buddy a hard time. He's got big shoulders. But anyway, he did want to give a shout out to all the emergency services. And Buddy, you can expand on that. But they really helped out VDOT because people just couldn't get around, man. And I think all the fire departments kicked in. But anyway, he did say that to me. Solid waste, that was in your report. It's in your package, it's not here. Building inspections in your report, Mr. Chairman, Mike Murphy.
Wait a minute, I want to say
Oh,
something
I'm
about
sorry.
solid waste.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You ran right by
I
me.
did that, I'm sorry, sir.
For some reason, I started looking at numbers this afternoon. The landfill, receipts, $126,401.87. Checks, which I'm assuming are expenses, $100,275.03 for a plus of $26,126.84.
It's the first time in many, many years.
28 days of February, we have a plus.
Don't count on that.
I know, but it just looks so good to
does
see
that.
that.
You
know,
That reflects our new fees and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the $55, you think about that, and
And I'll tell you, we got a lady in the office, and Andrew can back me up 100%. Her name's Dawn Buchanan. She calls and she collects from that landfill. If you owe her for that landfill, you owe her for that dumpster. I can't listen. I mean, it almost sounds mean. I got to walk away because I can't listen to it.
It gets the money though, right?
But she brings money in. She brings money in.
the other thing on that was that the total days were 23.
I know.
Landfill was closed sometimes. And the average tons per day were 35.85 tons. That's a lot less than we usually
There's
do.
your answer. They were closed, they weren't running.
Well, let me,
I know, but he gave us the average, which was
let me deflate your
35.
bubble, gentlemen, that's good, but we're still 1.9 million in the hole.
Well, I mean,
There are some-
we're 26,000 to the good this month.
Mr. Rourke and I are investigating further, so
Yeah.
just so everybody's aware of that. We've had one meeting, we have another meeting.
One other question, a citizen brought this up to me, and I just want to make the comment so we think about it. If this solar project does go through, they're going to generate a whole lot of trash. Where is that trash going? And are they paying if it goes to our landfill?
So why they wouldn't?
Well, that's why I'm asking. I just want to make sure there's no deal going on with something like that.
Hadn't seen anything like that. Mr. Bowen, who else do we have?
Yeah, we had building inspections, Mike Murphy. We've got a new building inspector. I'm gonna try to get him to this, I'm not gonna try, I'm gonna get him.
Is he a full-time or was he?
Yeah, he's full-time and he
Okay,
lives in
great.
Blackstone, so.
Excellent.
We did do a little switch in vehicles. I took the building inspector's vehicle, which was a gas guzzler, and gave that to David to carry a lawnmower down the road when we have to cut grass at the Burkeville School or whatever, and then he's got a smaller vehicle, so we're trying to save well we can, because you hear it, people watch what you do.
Well, it was,
They watch when
I
it.
filled my,
Use that signal light.
I put 3/4 of a tank in my pickup today, $102.
Right.
And a positive on the building permit. People say people are moving out of Nottoway. We have $4.6 million plus in construction
Right.
this past month.
And going, and thank you for sharing that, Mr. Norton, but I'm gonna go back to the landfill real quick too. I did talk to John. John was really, he knew his numbers. He said the tonnage was more in the landfill. And we got to looking at those numbers and went back, and I did tell John this, and I want to say it publicly because he knew what he was talking about. It was when we had 15,000 Afghanistans out there, we made money on the landfill. We made money on the landfill because that's double our population.
Because you tonnage.
It was so much trash. And then at the same time, the VMAC was being renovated. What is it? It was the same time. So we had a special, more tonnage was coming to that landfill for at least a year. And then it went a second year because they threw away mattresses and stuff like that after the Afghanistans got out of there. So he was right about his numbers, the tonnage was higher. And that TRC went off those numbers for the projection of that landfill.
the closure.
Yeah, so
I
just
forgot
want to
about
share.
that. That explains the reason the big
Yeah,
bugs come around that community from the mattresses.
Yeah, okay.
I thought them come from the cows over there, but
Mattresses from Afghan.
But anyway, I wanted to share that with y'all, to show that he knew what he's talking about on that. So,
So that's went way down.
yes.
I see Dr. Martin. Hello, Dr. Martin.
Lock your doors. Did I? Am I mic?
Hold your wallet.
You get scrutinized before you even get up here.
It's been very nice.
You have been.
Gosh.
Wow. Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Bowen. So I have a couple of things to speak on this evening, a couple of things that I was asked to speak on to provide some clarification to the board. So these are not all on my list this evening, but I am going to provide some clarification. So first of all, the school division's budget, during our meeting last week, our board adopted our budget with a few modifications to lower impact and funding. It included lowering our ADM to what we have projected as of March 31st this year. We moved our projections from 1675 to 1650. We are approaching that March 31st time, and we feel that it's a more accurate projection as to where we need to budget for next year. Results in the reduction of $245,764 in local money. We removed the SPED add-on on the required local match. That was one of the programs that we felt we could remove, and we feel we can comfortably support this with the increases that were projected in the governor's released budget through what we currently have with the required local effort. This resulted in an RLE savings of $85,209 and the required local match of $160,555. We did present, and it's going to y'all, a balanced needs budget based that reflects the commitment to Nottoway County Public Schools, the students and the staff, and moves our ability to attract and retain qualified staff within the figures that we have. In addition, the caboose bill came out today. Well, the calc tool for us came out today, which is the addendum to the current budget that's in place, and even reducing our ADM from what we had based budget on to what we are proposing, and what they are proposing that our ADM will be on March 31st, which is around 1650, 1655. The county share does increase in that budget as to what's required. Even though the ADM went down, it actually increases the county share. Now, there's two numbers in there. One is if we just solely take the increase based on the number, it's only $1,000. However, if we take the one-time bonus funds that is calculated into this budget, it is an increase of $73,694. And that's that just came out today. Those are kind of new figures that we are looking at, but I did want to make you aware of those numbers this evening.
To clarify that, Dr. Martin, if you don't mind, so the state is requiring us, when I say requiring, is mandated that they get a $1,000 bonus in June. All in
$1,500.
$1,500, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
The locality has the option as to what they want to pay in that in the time period, but it has to be earmarked. We have to certify by May 1st if we're going to take those funds.
Okay, so I guess what I'm just make sure we understand. We at one time thought we was going to get $200,000 back.
Right.
And of course, those numbers are not right, not
Those
correct.
are our initial calculations, if you based it off of what the budget currently was that came out before this caboose bill comes out, was that we thought we would possibly be able to return about $250,000 to the county based on the difference in our ADM. However, when the calc tool came out today, the caboose bill that was added on, the numbers are slightly higher in that. So that results in this.
And that's in this year's budget.
That is in this current year's budget. Yes, not talking about the 26, 28, because that has not reached an agreement yet. And we're basing everything that you see in the budget that you're getting is based off of what the last governor's budget was that he presented.
Okay. So I guess what we got to figure out is, and I guess if you could send us something maybe for the April meeting or something to say, hey, this is the options for y'all to have a discussion. I know she just found this out and you're throwing it on at one time, but we got little time to vote for that. I'm pretty sure, don't we? I'll come with a decision. Okay, I just want to clarify that. Yeah. Thank you.
At a minimum, though, it is an increase of $1,000.
Yeah, at a minimum.
At a minimum.
That's right. We're not getting 200 back.
Yep.
I got you.
So the other thing, one of the things I was asked to speak on was mandated CSA funding. So I am actually going to give you this chart, which I think explains it to you as to what CSA funding is.
Thank you.
And your chairman was responsible for asking this question, so you know.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oops, sorry.
Got it, I got it.
And it actually breaks it down really nicely to explain the requirement of mandated CSA funding. And so to kind of go through it, there are students in our community whose needs go far beyond what a typical classroom or school division can even provide for them. These are not just students who are struggling academically. These are children who are battling severe trauma, mental health crises, disabilities that impact every part of their daily lives. Some of them have experienced abuse or neglect. Some are fighting anxiety so overwhelming they cannot sit in a classroom. Others have behavior so intense without intervention they put themselves or others at risk. Without the support of the Virginia Comprehensive Services Act, which is known as CSA, these children would not receive the services they need. There would be no therapeutic placements, no intensive counseling, no structured environments designed to help them stabilize and learn. And when those supports are not in place, the consequences are real, and they're real for the community. Students will fall further behind, classrooms become disrupted, impacting the other learners in those classrooms, families are left without support, and in some cases, children end up in crisis situations that extend far beyond what the school system can handle for them. CSA funding exists because these children cannot be left without help. It ensures that when a child reaches a point where their needs are greater than what a school alone can provide, we do not turn away from them. We have to provide a response. This is not funding just for programs or enhancements. It's really for children that are in a crisis type of situation, whether it's a variety of different things. The CSA provides critical support for a small number of students with most intensive needs, not in the entire student population. These are students that have, as I shared, significant emotional, behavioral, or mental health challenges. They require specialized or private educational placements, and they need intensive therapeutic or family-based services. Just some highlights for you. CSA is mandated shared cost that the county must fund regardless of the budget conditions. CSA is one of the few areas in the budget where spending is driven by student need, not by local control. CSA is one of the least predictable line items in your county budget. One new student placement can add $50,000 to $100,000 plus annually in some situations. Multiple cases in a year can quickly adjust any predictions that you put in place in your budget. Even strong budgeting cannot fully control the CSA funding. Mid-year adjustments are often necessary. It is not, unfortunately, a fixed cost. It is a reactive cost tied to real-time student needs. Decisions are influenced by several different areas. The federal law, IDEA, which is for our students with disabilities, it can directly place them in those services or supports. Court rulings, state regulations, or multi-agency teams such as FAPT or CPMT. And a variety of us from the county serve on different boards. For the school division, Dr. Lewis serves on the CPMT team, and it's really to separate the duties and the responsibilities of individuals because there's funding commitments in each of those things. Dr. Gravely serves on the FAP team, and then of course I serve on the MDT for the county. So we're all we're hearing the same type of things, but in different situations. So CSA is not a budget issue. It's not just a budget issue. It represents the students with severe disabilities, children in crisis, and families needing support. They are extremely high-risk, high-need situations. And a lot of times people say, well, why are the costs increasing? Because I know you see a significant amount of money that has to be paid to day placements. And just keep in mind, day placements vary where we might send children to because they're specialized facilities for certain needs. Rivermont might see somebody more for behavioral needs. We have Faison School in Richmond that is more for a student that has severe autism. So it's very specialized based on what the student has and what they need. But
Dr. Martin, when I looked, I've got it pulled up here, so Rivermont Schools, just the first line item, $5,845.35. And then when I look at your chart, it says, what CSA funds, and so that's pass-through money.
It is. So I was going to tell you,
so
everything.
Then our expense then is the travel.
The school division's expense is the travel.
Right.
Yeah, that is our expense.
Marcia, what's the percentage, not to interrupt, but I served on CPMT, now he's on it, but what's the percentage? Most of it's state pass-through, but what kind of percentage on a case or the budget is state funded versus local funded? from when I served 2 years, it's not that much that's local.
I don't think it's very much local funded, and we don't see all of that, so we are the pass-through agency right now. One of the things that we agreed to when I came on in July was to switch our EDI payments back to the county. That's so the funds hit the county, and then they come over to us. We have worked very closely with the state and submitted the things on our end, but the things on the county end, and we try to get some more information today where those payments would go the other way and then come to us, based on reports from what the auditors have suggested, based on what we felt was best in our conversations, and they have not been switched back to hit that direction yet. There was something that was needed from the county. I don't know if they've received it at this time or where it is in the process. So right now, these CSA funds hits the school division, and then we pass them back to y'all at this point in time. So those funds do not stay with us. The only thing that the school division has to fund is the transportation piece. We ensure the IEP compliance and the IEP monitoring of those items for them. That's what we handle in that. But it is a responsibility. Unfortunately, it's not one, like I said, that I can predict. I think we looked at numbers very quickly this afternoon, and we have about 16 or 17 students that are placed right now.
It's not a large number.
It's expensive.
But expensive because, as you said, and from serving on that for 2 years, the children are really at need.
Yes, and it's a process to get them there. So I was asked to provide some updates as to about the money going out of the county. And unfortunately, it's not something, they're at the point in the school division that we don't have those specialized services to help support them.
And it's not just one specialized service, because you've got
It's
16
Right, it's all a
cases
different,
and
right.
Different scenario for
And,
each
Foster
child.
care plays in that too. It could be a direct placement by them, which is a whole nother situation. So, like I said, it's not very predictable in a budget as to what it may be. An IEP team could decide that that is the best placement for them. I mean,
in
of course,
Southside.
the school's gonna exhaust all efforts first.
In Southside, so Mecklenburg, Lunenburg, Brunswick, is everybody having to have that hour and 20, hour and 30-minute trip
Well, of course, it depends on where you're located
and
at.
what they're doing? But
I remember from my experience in the school division, we would get, I was told, and again, this isn't hearsay, I was told people would move to Nottoway because we covered it. That's been a long time ago when I was in the school division. But that was they said, well, Nottoway's doing this, so let's move to Nottoway so they'll take care of my child. I mean, and the child needed taken care of. It wasn't like, no, they don't need it, they need it. But it just, I think at that time, we were one of the first that did it.
Each county does it as a mandate.
It's a mandate.
It-
It's mandated. I think, and I do not know because, I mean, it's one of those mandated things, and we work with FAPT and we work with CPMT, and how the funding comes through, and we just pass the funding right on that we receive for it.
A lot of this started when it was a shooting at Virginia Tech, and I think Governor Kane was the governor at that time. But we were looked at it as a board member one time. You know how we got a Piedmont Regional Jail? We thought, well, what if we did a regional home for these children? And it's really expensive. You know, this is the best route, and have a good CSA coordinator.
Yeah, you've got to have the professionals to deal with them.
Right.
Well, it was interesting that I'd looked at them as a group, but they're not.
Right.
It's each individual.
I did the same thing with
And
them.
some of the biggest complaints we had when I was on CPMT was the servicing agencies that they had to come here. There's no office space, there's nowhere for them to go. And then they have to go to the individual homes, and they were asking for potentially office space that we could set up to have rooms for these people to meet the children.
Yeah, and the school division's part of it is the transportation.
Yes.
Which, it's expensive, the transportation for these placements, because oftentimes we have to get a car service. It's hard to find people that want to drive out of county
Right.
and stay.
Hang around all day.
And hang around, and you have to wait, and then you have to, and you have to be there, because if they get sick, if there's inclement weather, they close. It's not like we can bring them back here an hour and a half to turn around and,
Right.
Send them
and
back.
have to, yeah, in enough time. So that is one of the things that we have been looking for, is trying to find people that are willing to drive out of county, because that would also save, because that is the school division's cost that we pay, is the transportation. But having a car service or a car company have to pick up and, you know, and you gotta put your children in.
If you ask them to stay somewhere, they become an employee, you're paying a wage then.
Right.
See,
But I can tell you, it is significant the amount we pay in
I'm sure it is.
transportation to just send them out of, yeah. Third parties.
It's cheaper for us to have somebody on staff.
Yeah.
The price of gas is going up.
Yeah.
Thank you for responding to my questions, Dr. Martin. That was
You're
just kind of an
welcome.
educational.
Yes. So the next thing I was asked to kind of explain was about the EERE grant and provide some clarification as to the pieces and the parts of all of the grants and how it has affected the work that we've done in the county. So the total grant award, and I am going to ask Heather to jump in when I might have something off here, was $12,163,600. The federal share of that is $11,500. No, sorry, $11,500,700. The school division share is $662,900. We used our state construction funds for that $662,000 that we had. So no local funds have been or will be used for this grant. Those state construction funds that came to us, that's what we're using for that. So please note there are only 2 phases to this grant, and I know there were some pieces and parts there that we weren't, or that some maybe weren't sure of, and the clarification for them. So some grants could have more than 2 phases to it, but our grant only has these 2 phases to it. Phase 1 was completed in fiscal year '25. The approved Department of Energy budget for Phase 1 was $3,931,200, which was, the federal share was $3.7 million, and the division share was $214,000. We used approximately 93% of the allocated funds for Phase 1. We did have some cost savings on lighting in the schools during Phase 1. So those funds will be shifted to Phase 2 once we get our final approval. And as we have said before, that is sitting on a desk and has not been signed off on yet. So we're in a hold pattern with that. So the timeline for you. We applied in April of '23. We were notified we were selected in June of '23. We received official award in April of '24, and Phase 1 projects began in September of '24 and concluded in January of '25. Phase 2 can begin once that continuation application is approved. This is still sitting, as I said, at the federal level, waiting for the final word on it. But the projects planned and completed in Phase 1. So the first phase, these are the things that we addressed. We upgraded all interior and exterior lights to LEDs in all the schools. We sealed up the building envelopes at all the schools. New exterior doors at Nottoway Intermediate and Crew Primary School. A new boiler installation at Crew Primary School. We installed an HVAC control at Crew Primary School. We replaced the boilers at Nottoway High School, but I will say after yesterday, we had a boiler pump go bad at the high school with all of the power surges that we had, and that was burned up, and we've been replacing a lot of stuff over the last day, including we probably are going to have to do a upgrade on our lines because it's the original lines, from our understanding, that were built with the building. And of course, now I believe they put them in conduit pipe is what they told us. These are just deep bury lines. I do not know about electricity except for what my husband might share with me when I ask questions about electrical stuff. But that is one of the things. And so the rock and the continuous pressure and stuff are snapping some of those lines underneath. So the project's plan for Phase 2, once we get final approval, is to replace the flat roof at Nottoway High School. Replace the rooftop HVAC units at Nottoway High School. This is the other part that we hadn't gotten to. It was tied up in the second round of funding. Replace the gym HVAC units at Blackstone Primary and Crew Primary School. Install HVAC control systems at Blackstone Primary, Nottoway Middle, and Nottoway Intermediate, and replace the windows at Nottoway Intermediate. So there's the possibility that once approved, we could request a grant modification. And that's what we're leaning toward for some parts of this grant. there are things in this grant that we absolutely need as well, so we can't replace everything. One of the biggest things would be replacing the windows at the intermediate school. We would ask if we could adjust that part of it and shift funding to our system at Crew that we're in dire need of. However, we don't have any indication as to when this is going to be approved. So those are kind of the pieces in there. The other piece of it that we did some HVAC work was with our ESSER funding, all the money that came out of COVID and the pandemic. Part of ESSER was the HVAC replacement and improvement grant. The division received $357,346.21, and the funding supported part of the HVAC replacement at Nottoway High School. Wasn't enough to do everything that was needed, so part of that. ESSER funding, only a portion of the funding could be spent on capital improvements, was used to replace the chillers at Blackstone and the middle school, which is approximately $600,000. Part of the HVAC for the high school, so we do have part of it done, the other part is not done, and then ionization units for air purification on HVAC units at the school. So there was funding that was spent to do things, but not to fully redo the HVAC system at Crew Primary. So my final thing this evening, and I was going to talk about poor Marcus, but I'm not now. I'll leave Marcus out tonight.
I'm going to talk about Marcus in my closing comments.
In your closing comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I told Mr. Collins I could talk about
Little Bill.
Little Bill instead tonight. Maybe.
Or Little Bo.
Little Bo, Little Bill, Sweet Daphne, Mr. Ingram.
Thank you.
You got the mister in there.
But
Respect it, sir.
he was my teacher, so
I understand totally.
I was in the cookie business for him at
He
school.
was mine too in the cookie business.
In the cookie business.
That's right.
That's where I got so good with these numbers and stuff along the way.
Counting that cookie money.
That cookie money, yeah. We might have to start cookie sales again
That's
to
right.
handle this.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about the HVAC funding for Crew. And we are really at a crucial moment right now if we want to be able to get any work done this summer. We have to get a contract in place by mid-April in order for us to start this process. The rental unit that we have in place there now that the company provided to us as a borrowed unit, it will not be there next year. And in quite all honesty, it didn't work. It's not able to substantiate what we needed. I mean, we still had problems with part of the buildings being out. We have to do something in order to have heat next winter in that building. So a couple of the things about Crew Primary School, just to give you some ideas. The current system conditioning at Crew Primary, it's a hybrid system and moving away from a failed geothermal system, which was installed over 25 years ago at that building. Mechanical system was located in the attic, and it's the roof over the roof. So if you think about that at the school. With PVC piping distributing water to water source heat pumps, which provide airflow to spaces. There are wells that are located on the west side of the building that showed signs of failing 7 years ago. And we have installed a cooling tower to augment those wells that are in place there. The Renew America Schools supported the electric boiler, which was put in place of those wells. So we did use a little bit of the funding to do some of the things that we could do based on the restrictions of a grant. The current HVAC system failures. Piping is located in unconditioned ceiling space where temps are extreme. They're approximately 120 degrees plus on summer days, causing significant damage to the distribution system that we have. Piping is PVC, rated at 40 PSI, aged and brittle due to extreme heat and cold conditions in the attic. It has split and major leaks have occurred. The system cannot function correctly, providing adequate instructional conditions. Leaks from piping have been in the ceiling, classrooms, and floors, ruining our coursework, upsetting teachers and students, and of course leading to lower morale and community pride in the school. We just had a leak again last week. Luckily, we caught it and got something underneath it and got the water cut off there before it damaged a whole nother classroom in the building. Proper maintenance is very hard to achieve now due to the unbearable conditions in the attic. In the summer, work must begin very early to avoid subjecting the technicians to extreme heat. It is unbearable up
The
there
attic.
in the attic. It's
Yeah,
unbearable
attic's hot.
to work in that space. And if you think about the school division, There's not many times of year that you can do these types of projects in them. I mean, it's either breaks, and summer break is the longest break that we have in the school. The combination of the unpredictable leaks and the regular non-performance of the systems means technicians are called out often, and most of the time they're called out to us 4 to 5 times a week to fix something at our schools, dealing with the HVAC system. We have engaged with partners, and a replacement HVAC project has been developed, and timing is really short to execute it successfully at this point in time. So if you think about it, a couple of the things that we're running into now, timing is critical for partners to be able to execute the work. This will take the entire summer. School's out 11 weeks, and there's a lot to do before we can get to that. One of the biggest things is equipment lead times at this point. The longer we wait, the longer it is to get equipment in here in order to start this project. The project will not be cheaper. If we keep pushing it off, we'll endure more expense in '27 due to the escalation, and we'll have to endure another 18 months of the leaks, which we cannot do. So funding sources. The School Construction Assistant Program grant. That is where the state grant application is 30% for the school division, and 30% comes from the state to offset the cost, and 70% from the locality. Those applications open up next month. In order for us to apply, we have to have a commitment from the county regarding that 70% of the funding. So it is critical. That application window is only open from April until May, and we find out notification. So that is not an immediate funding source that we can go to at this point in time. It's a funding source that we feel that we meet all the parameters of based on the conditions and the needs and all of those things. But it's an application process, and it's a very short window for that. Our partner has talked with us about how we can possibly sculpt some of the payments to ease time and pressure of payment. And of course, there's also VPSA and other bonds of low interest, so the county can do an equipment lease to own model and those annual payments. The biggest thing that we need at this point in time is a commitment in order to start this work. Because if not, we will not, we've got to do something in order to be prepared for next winter. They have told us they would want full payment of the $4.5 million by December. They would work with us on that. They would do a progress billing on some things. We do feel that we have some construction funds that we could allocate to this project that we've kind of been setting aside with some of those funds that we have sitting there. Of course, we've had to use those funds for emergency needs that have come up. But the HVAC right now it's critical. And in order for us to move forward and start this project, we're going to have a commitment from the county in this process.
Marsha, what's the, Ms. Chairman? Marsha, what's the useful life of this $4.5 million system? 25 years. Okay. I've heard, and Mr. Rourke called me about this, that the school has possible plans to maybe down the road within 10 years that Crew Primary needs to be renovated or rebuilt.
Well, the school has no plans because we have no money.
Okay. But that's why I'm asking, because this is a lot of money.
But we are at capacity at Crew Primary.
Okay.
Right now. We use every closet, nook, cranny, stage for classrooms at this point in time. If you think about it, because Crew Primary and Burkeville were there together at that point in time, and there's been different configurations, but at one point in time, K1 and pre-K were at Burkeville, and then you just had the 2nd through 4th grade up there. It's been different configurations. The space is very tight there. One of the things that we're doing this summer with the principal and assistant principal at Crew Primary is looking at their space, moving people where we can move them. And I will tell you, even if we start this project now, we already know that throughout the project, we've got to move classes, like when they do one wing of it, because they won't get it all done in the summer. So the wing that 1st grade's on, we have to move them to like the gym for a few days for them to work there. I do know that when we've talked to them, they said they would try to minimize impact to instruction, because that's my biggest thing, like the space that kids are learning in. And they would work at night to do this project and use any break or time that we have available. But
Working at night would be a whole lot cooler on them in the attic too. A lot cooler. Was this put out for bid? And what was the highest and what was the lowest? Is this the lowest bid?
That's what I was going.
The project stems from the Department of Energy grant. Because we're reusing parts and pieces that have been paid for with federal money, we're kind of stuck with the vendor we have.
So they dictate to what vendor you gotta use?
It's all because we have federal dollars already wrapped up in the HVAC project at Crew. And we have
Federal dollars
further-
already active.
We have further federal dollars planned for the HVAC at Crew. We are kind of in the grand scheme of things.
You can't start a new relationship.
Correct, we're already working.
We'd have to
with
pull
this.
out everything and start, it'd be even higher cost.
Correct, we can't pull out and go to another one because then parts are not compatible. We already have a control system that we just put in, that would no longer be compatible. So we would have just wasted money because we'd have to basically redo what we've already done so far. So we're kind of at the part that we are with the vendor that we're gonna be going through. Now, it will be going through cooperative purchasing to get us the lowest price possible, because that will get us several discounts. But I will say, the biggest cost for this project is putting in the VAV box system because it's labor intensive. And that doesn't matter whether we go with an IntelliPack system, whether we go with this other Voyager system that we're looking at. And it honestly wouldn't matter whether it was, the vendors we're currently working with or one of the other major vendors. The VAV box installation is the most cost, it's the biggest cost of the project because it is extremely labor.
I'm sure the school board has looked into this, but it's no other cheaper alternative to, in other words, as I said in the joint meeting, I hate to put a new gate on a rotten fence post.
Well, I will say the vendor we're using is going to give us 2 to 3 different options, and they all are different price points. And at that point,
Is this the highest?
No,
Is this the cheapest?
it's not the
The
cheapest.
4.5 is kind of in the mid-range.
So just for public clarification, if you guys were to go in there and consider put a splitter unit in every room that needed air, every classroom, how much would that cost opposed to this $4.5 million?
The problem with that, we don't have the electrical capacity.
That's probably,
You don't have three-phase close by up there?
That school is at max electrical capacity. We would have to add to be able to do mini splits. Because
Okay,
it's
well, then that helps me answer the question to the person, the citizen
and
who's
it might,
concerned about
it
that.
probably is going to increase that utility bill pretty much good too. You know what I mean?
I don't think the energy efficiency would be there with split units either.
Mr. Chair, let me ask the superintendent just a quick question here. And she brought this to my attention today. She anyway, if you form a letter of commitment for the board, can we put it in the April 16th? And let me hear me out on the April 16th meeting. And because I feel like there's a possibility that we can work out with, it's Train as the company, right? That we can work out the first payment wouldn't be in FY27. The first payment could be in FY28. And the reason why I'm asking for that is because tomorrow we got a meeting with Davenport about money at the courthouse. So they need to know, I mean, there may be some way of, but y'all got to do some homework. I mean, I don't think you're going to sign a letter of commitment tonight after that, but you need to know what's ahead of you. But anyway.
Well, we've got budget coming up, so if there's going to be a payment, then we need to.
But it's a possibility it won't
that
be
out.
in next budget, fiscal year 27. You see what I'm saying? Possible.
Right, so
Possible.
whatever funding source is used.
But you're right, you need
I
a,
have to still pay the vendor
I understand,
the full
I understand,
amount by
right, right.
December in order to get this project.
I know, I got you, but we work good together.
I heard you say if I draft the letter, is that what you said?
I'm gonna make a lot of commitment for the courthouse. That's the only letter I'm
Hey,
gonna
Sonny
do.
can do it, he'd be glad to do it.
Yep. But
Sonny'd be
anyway.
glad to do it. Hey, Mr. Abbott,
What do y'all think about that? I'm just asking.
I'm just talking about you, I wanted you to hear. I said you would probably be glad to draft a letter for Dr. Martin.
I've listened to Dr. Martin, and she's an excellent author when it comes to writing.
Oh, okay.
Good job, Diggy. But anyway.
So we do have a Davenport meeting tomorrow, so if you could remember, we need to discuss
I've got it on my notes right
$3
now.
million.
4.5 million is what I heard.
Well, 70% of that.
Okay.
If you get the-
Well, if we can.
But I heard two different things from Steve and you, though. You're saying you need a commitment to have it paid in December, the entire amount.
So there's
He's
a
talking about FY '28.
Right, so there's a couple of different pieces there. The company is not going to delay payment any further than December of '26. They will work with us up until that point for them to get their money. Now, there's also the funding piece behind it as to when the first, if we did a bond, when the first bond
Right.
payment would be.
And that's kind of what we're looking
Borrow the
for.
money.
Yeah.
That's why I think Davenport could help us out.
Right, I got you.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing with it, but in order for us to even apply for the school construction assistance program funds, we have to have the commitment of the 70%
Right.
from the county. And even, because that has to go in with our application for
Right.
it.
We did that financial resolution. It's the same principle. I'm guessing it's kind of the same principle. I'll talk to Davenport about it tomorrow. When we got to start writing a check now to English, for architect work, Mosley. But we can pay us, when we get the loan, we'll pay ourselves back, put it back in there. Anyway.
Well, let me.
Is it 70% less than 4.5 million? Is that the 4.5 million or the 30% that you get the grant?
That's the total, and then, of course, the 30%.
Percent comes back off of
Oh,
that
it's gonna
4.5?
be- yeah.
Okay.
But my question is, and I know this is coming up later, because we're gonna write a letter to the governor or whomever. If we were to get that 1 cent, that could be used for that,
No.
no?
No.
So there's a
School
couple of-
construction.
School construction, but it has to be new projects.
That's a new
I thought it was
project.
renovation.
That's a new project. It's a new HVAC system.
But it's
No,
already
it's already in an existing
Underway?
It said
building.
renovation. I thought part of that was renovation.
We're gonna talk about,
Well, I will tell you too, so, we found out at our meeting last week, right before our meeting, of course, that was, I don't wanna say killed, but.
it died,
It
died in committee.
It
Yeah.
died.
no, it died in committee.
It died in
It's not
committee.
tabled, it's died.
And there is, the conversation from my understanding was that it was supposed to be brought back up next year in the Senate
That's right.
Finance and Appropriations.
That's exactly right.
Committee for it. So there's also two avenues with that. So the route that, my understanding that they were going was to make that more, any locality could have the option to do that.
Right.
Of course, with your referendum.
Right.
But there's still the option, but it still has to go through the General Assembly next year. There are counties that have that 1% already added on, but that's more of a special permission type of thing to be added to that list. So
Right.
there's two avenues next year. Either it comes back up as the general discussion that they were having, or the county could request
Right.
separately for it.
But you said it had to be new, and I thought,
My understanding was that this would not qualify, that it had to,
Language this year changed. to
Right.
where it had to be new projects.
New
You couldn't go
projects.
back and table
You
projects
couldn't-
that were already
yeah.
started.
but what I'm saying to you is, y'all have got some money that you've gotten from the state already for this type of stuff. By being able to put that into the new deal, that should free up some stuff, some money you already got, correct?
So everything that we have currently, all we have left from the school construction money we got 3 years ago is the money that is earmarked for the 5% share of that Department of Energy grant. The rest of it's all been spent on some ADA upgrades that we did, bathroom upgrades that we did. So all we have left of any school construction money is that. Now, we did carry over some money into this fiscal year, which we've done some projects with, like upgrading the intercom systems in school, because that's a security thing that needs to be done. So part of my plan. now
And
that
the
this
security
boost-
vestibule
Yeah.
at Blackstone.
So now that this boost bill has come out, I can actually
Never enough money.
pinpoint where we're at in the year and where we're gonna end up, towards the end of the year to know
What we could
how
put
much
towards
money
it.
we may have that we can put towards this project.
Right.
I just don't have an exact dollar amount for that right this second, 'cause that calculation literally came out today.
Okay, well, let me ask another question, because this came up. That $6.5 million grant y'all applied for, this was separate from the 12 million, I thought.
I don't know.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember. I thought it was a separate grant that you
That's what I did
applied
too. I thought that was separate. That's why I asked.
Is that was the portion you received? Maybe?
6.5 funding
I don't
is.
remember applying for any grants for that. I mean, we've applied for security grants and stuff, but the only grant that we've applied for capital improvement has been this Department of Energy grant, with the exception of the HVAC grant that's part of ESSER funding.
Right.
All right. Dr. Martin, did you have anything further?
I don't. I think
Don't?
that was enough for one evening for you.
We certainly appreciate you coming up and enlightening us.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Number 8, G8.
No, it's just, next one will be, Mr. Greg
Zodi?
Zodi. Yes, sir.
Greetings. I'm handing out the first one.
Thank you, sir.
This is for a new solar project that's going to be coming our way. They're going to hold a meeting on Wednesday at, ironically, the Crew Primary School. This is CEP, Commonwealth Energy Solutions, and they're looking at 3 megawatts for this particular site. I spoke to the developer, Paul Cousins, who attended a lot of our meetings and is not in Mr. Ingram's district.
Thank the Lord.
This one, I think they might have another one, but this one is not.
Okay, thank you.
But I was kind of celebrating. Anyway, okay, on to number, and it's at Crew Primary School from, I believe, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Wednesday, March 25th. I'll be there for a little while, just to get in early. The second thing I have is that we have one rezoning coming next month. Then we also have a special exception. Excuse me, the special exception as in Brian Wright's old property at the interchange of Lewiston Plank Road and the interchange 360, 460, directly across the road.
The old dumpster site.
Yes.
That's quicker for y'all.
And I've already shared, I'm sharing my site plan with Jamie so she can look at the sewage disposal system. So that's coming in. That's going to be a convenience store under general business. The third thing I have for y'all is I've been discussing with this one property owner at the 2960 Cox Road, that old lumber site with the spur in the back. They want to do basically constructing pallets, customized pallets, and then ship them out for the customers. And so they'll bring some revenue to the county, get a dormant use reactivated, and that'll be a rezoning from general business to light industrial. And it's not going to be a spot zoning thing because there's light industrial use right across Cox Road on the north side of Cox Road. So I think that takes away any issues with anyone has issues with that. It's not spot zoning by definition.
If I can go back a little bit, Greg. The Frito-Lay warehouse, you say this just says across from it. So is that, so the warehouse is facing this west? Is it straight?
Yeah, it's straight across, and it could be potentially within the town of Burkeville boundary lines. And
We'll need to be real careful as far as traffic flow up there with.
I know, and
that'll be a big part of it.
oh, yes, sir, and I've reached out to Mr. Henson, Paul Henson. I sent him and Jamie Hawley the applications for next month yesterday. So they've got that under review. Okay, but that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Doty.
You're welcome,
That's
sir.
that old dumpster site. They did take it in.
Mr. Hyde?
Hey,
Good
buddy.
evening.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Bowen, staff.
Mr. Hyde, I'd like to thank you personally for the services that you provide the citizens and the communication that helps this board tremendously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because we're able to answer questions and
You're
provide
welcome.
and give
Yes,
them
sir.
sources to go look.
Okay.
So thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much.
Yes, sir, glad to do it. You're welcome. And with that said, you have my report in your packet. I'll keep it short. Any questions on that? Also, tonight, we added on, I gave Ms. Kelly, there's a 2-page handout there, basically a page and a half of text. This is a summary of the storm we just had. So I thought that would be helpful to you. Also, if you haven't had an opportunity, I posted on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and I had Ms. Tucker share that on the county Facebook page for anyone out there listening. It's about 36 to 40 pictures of our best photos that were sort of weeded through all of them, took out the fuzzy ones, but it's a lot of damage there. And so what you have here, and I'll just say this for the people that haven't seen Facebook real quick, we went through and did damage assessments yesterday. I want to thank Joey Schnapp, for meeting out there, and Jimmy Falwell. We all three, sort of grouped together, and we went around and looked and talked to some owners. But I'm always, I want to give credit to others, and that's what, you know me, and I like to do that. I want to do that now. And on the first page, I'm going to just read right off of that. First of all, again, I want to thank, Jimmy Falwell for calling me up, during the event as soon as the roof blew off, and we collaborated, and I said, yeah, let's all go. And I was at the EOC, Jimmy was at home. Then I called Mike Murphy. So we had talked about this, with all the building inspectors that we've had, we've been able to take them out to building collapses. That's one thing that I've always told them, that we want to work closely with you, and we want you to come out at any hour of the night. So I called Mike. He called me right back, and I said, we've got several structural collapses, so we really need you. And sure enough, he came out, and so we all, met on Maryland Avenue to start with and looked at that home there, and we went back over to Yoder's. But then we had other roofs off as well. So we all worked together on that, but I want to thank again, Jimmy, Mike. I also want to thank Blackstone Fire Department. Even though we didn't have much damage down there, they came up and staged at Hardee's and Crew. So kudos to Blackstone Fire Department. The community resilience, I just want to say one phrase, community resilience right here in Nottoway County is something we can all be proud of. We just have the very top resilient community in teamwork. The teamwork of the agencies, to get back on our feet. And if you rode by the sites today, especially Yoder's, roof is back on. It's amazing. And they were putting roofs on as well over in town. Burkeville Fire Department was out there, boots on the ground, and for EMS as well for Burkeville. Crew Fire Department, they were primary on all the crew structures. Bang-up job, just doing a great job of sorting it all out. Nottoway EMS, Nottoway Emergency Squad, our Nottoway Department of Emergency Services, and I already mentioned Jimmy in the county. The Sheriff's Department, VDOT, can't say enough. Our Nottoway VDOT's one of the best I've ever seen. And talking to Blake early that morning at 9 o'clock, had a meeting with him. We didn't know that 12 hours later we were going to be out cutting trees. But we all had a plan. Crew Public Works, TJ Shelton ran the backhoe. The whole crew was out there clearing. Great job by Crew Public Works. And then Dominion Energy and Southside Electric. And as you can see, I just mentioned all of them. I did talk to Dan Martin first thing Monday morning, so we were ready. But Blackstone, I called them yesterday, and they didn't have to turn a wheel. So they were fortunate. But we had a plan, and I know that his crew would have done the same thing that TJ Shelton's crew would have done. It would have been just phenomenal. So kudos to all of them. All the clear up and stabilization was 3 hours. From the time it hit around the, you can see the timeline there, we were all clear by about 11:30. And everybody was going back home. So with that, the only other thing I wanted to mention other than the storm, the recovery again went really well since Monday, yesterday, and today. I saw a lot of roofing jobs being done. Also, I think the streets were all clear, so good for that. And then over on my report, the only thing I wanted to mention to you on the monthly is that today I got notification from CTA that the Senate appropriations part of the grant for the grant that I filled out last week for the House appropriations at about $1.3 million, and I sent you an email on that. Today the Senate has spun up to match John McGuire's House appropriations. So we all know that Kane Warner and the Senate appropriations is attached to this. We have to turn it in Monday. We're probably going to submit it tomorrow. So we're on it. I'm going to meet with some people tomorrow virtually, and we're going to try to finish that application out. We're using the same support letters that you saw for the House appropriations. So we're hoping that they're going to all support that 1.3 request. And other than that, you know, I'll take any questions. I appreciate your time.
I just want to make a comment. I had to text Mr. Hyde at the beginning of the thing, because when I got my code red message, it was in Spanish. And I'm saying, buddy, when am I getting Spanish on my code red?
I researched that for you. I did. And the settings say you checked English on your setup.
I know I did.
And so I called Code Red. I was on the phone with them all day, pretty much today,
Right.
and we had a virtual for 2 hours, and he said that they didn't have that Spanish option. So I'm wondering, now the message I received, the voice was so rough that I couldn't hardly
It
understand.
was long, too.
So we're going to change the voice
Yeah.
from, you know, one person to another. We call it Samantha. In the 911 world, there's a Samantha robo voice, and that's what we call it. So we're going to change that robo voice. Try to have one a little bit more understandable. We'll see how that goes.
I couldn't believe that Spanish.
But I think Code, you know, other than the work session discussion we had the other night,
Yeah.
I think Code Red did well. I heard no complaints.
Good.
I know that some people told me they didn't get the cancellation I sent out. Come to find out, they checked the box that said they didn't want to see cancellations and updates. So it's all about what box you check when you sign it up. So that's on the user. All right, Mr. Chair, that's.
Yep. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Hyde.
buddy.
Thank you.
All right, Piedmont Regional Jail Authority, it's me. BCBR residents are creeping up a little bit. We had 14 as of the meeting yesterday. That's up from 9. So I did ask the superintendent to contact Commonwealth Attorney Watrous and just have a discussion with her about getting those folks back to Nottoway County as quick as we can. Mr. Bowen, anything on Pickett Park?
Just that we are cleaning out the officers club, what we own. I've got Miss George Morden out there. She's going to relocate to the other building they were in for a little while to see how, you know, I don't know which way you guys are going now with this, with the park, but she does need to be able to collect. And then my plan is, if we do go forward, I'm going to move her to the BB and T Bank, and she's going to help me with landfill collections. So that's all I have right now on that.
Okay. We've got constitutional office reports and comments. I don't see any.
Sheriff is here.
Sheriff, you have anything?
He's
always here.
He's on skunk patrol.
Yes, sir.
He got to kill the skunk patrol.
Got a stripe on it. It's actually this time of year. My dog has been twice this week.
Yeah, yep.
All right, unfinished business, ongoing project committee reports, the shelter, Mr. Ingram.
I attended the meeting. They've gotten, y'all may have seen the ad for a volunteer coordinator part-time.
I did.
So that's moving along.
Is there some interest?
I haven't heard. You heard anything?
No, I have
Steve?
not. I have not heard anything. Is that all you got, Mr. Ingram? on that?
You go.
Yeah, so we did a punch list today, and so we're getting close, and we're hoping to open the building up April 30th, maybe do a ribbon cutting. We also, you know, and I think you mentioned it, Mr. Chairman, and I've heard Ms. Norton, Mr. Toad, John, all of y'all, Mr. Ingram. You know, citizens, this is citizens' money. We're looking at maybe, I'm trying to get my staff lined up where we can be up there in the evenings, maybe for a week, for an open house, maybe from like 4 in the evening to 6 or 7, and so people can come in and see what it's all about. And the goal is to, you know, to bring the dog in the back door and a cat, and try to hopefully it goes out the front door. That's the goal, and let them and gets adopted. So we're working on some things there to so the public can see where their tax dollars is went.
There was one comment made by the audience tonight. So we are going to receive some funds from sales of property. We've got about $2.1 million that's borrowed from our IDA. It was their money, so it's the Nottoway County IDA. So if we do give them funds back, it'll be reinvested on behalf of the county. It's not a zero sum. It's
right.
Depending on what we give them, $500,000, they'll have $500,000. They can put it in short-term CDs. We could give them the total 2.1 and put it into the IDA, but it would still be invested in benefit the citizens of the county.
And I would like to point out, sir, that this animal shelter came in, the original price was over $4 million.
That's right.
And we did it in half of that. And still we have funds that will be applied by the CARES Committee. They've raised, what are they up to now, Dickie, 800,000?
They were over 750,000. Now, they're gonna get a break, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, on the sewage line and the water line. Because they were gonna donate 100,000 to the town of Burkeville for the water line that's gonna come in less than that, from what I understand. So they're gonna get a break on that, but the public needs to know that all the furnishings are going in that building being paid for by CARES. They've already bought them, they've already purchased them and got them sitting waiting, so when we move them in.
And I'm hoping they're gonna help me, you know, the state law, it's unbelievable on some of these things, but I gotta put in like these food bowls that the animal can't tip over.
Right.
It's gotta be connected somehow to the cage. You know, that was not included in the project, but I'm hoping they can help me out with some of that, you know, but anyway, just little things that you don't think about. Hey, they really want a signage on the back of the building with 360 and 460 can look at it, and I've reached out to a company to get a price on that. Mr. Boswell wants me to reach out to somebody local also to give them a chance, you know, and that kind of thing. So we're trying to get close, you know, and even when we open it, it's going to be some improvements that can be made as we go along, you know. Anyway.
But people need to understand too, the current facility we have doesn't meet the bill.
Well, that's right.
We've been fined multiple times. That will stop. And yes, it's a lot of money for animals, but as Steve referred to, the state veterinarian's office mandates a lot of things that normally we wouldn't deal with. But we had to do this. We're in a facility now that the actual staff have a bathroom because they didn't have one at their current facility. Right. How can you go this long ADA non-compliant? So people that complain, I get it. It was a lot of money, but we did the best we could to cut it down, and CARES was phenomenally instrumental in that.
And we could have been fined $1,000 a day if the state vet came in now to the old shelter.
Steve, did you say state? Did you say state? Well, I ain't never in my life.
I meant Ms. Dorn is actually more correct. It's state veterinarian's office.
I was thinking private when you said state.
But anyway, all right, we're getting close.
Any update on River Street, Mr. Zodi?
Yes, I believe Rob Taylor with River Street has sent back some suggested edits to the document. I'm not sure where it is in the pipeline right now, but that is.
Okay, that's in regards to his guarantee that we're not going to lose our funds.
Yeah, we didn't like the verbiage, and Ms. Douglas and Mr. Elder looked at that, and we got to make sure that that money comes back to us, not them. But anyway, we haven't got that signed yet, by the way.
Yeah, we got the public safety radio project. We've just kind of left that there. There's ongoing.
Yeah, the biggest thing on that
discussion on towers.
Well, that's going to be that's what's going to come in front of you very shortly, soon, and I got to figure out what you're going to do. Every rental for the new tower, the rental is I want to throw out numbers: $4,000 for Southside Electric, $1,000 a month for Old Shore Road. And then here comes Kinston Forest. Now, let me rephrase that. Kinston Forest don't own that tower. They rent the property out. The company, so it's not, Kinston Forest is not a bad guy here. They want to charge us $3,300 a month. And that is totally, they started out $8,000 a month. And I mean, you're talking about $39,600 a year just to rent that.
Well, I want to address that, Steve, because Buddy and I have addressed it. And what year did they start charging the county? Because for a very long time, there was no charge.
No. That was a good point.
Mr. Toth, are you referring to the
tower rentals?
The Kinston location?
All of them. Every one of them.
All of them?
Every one of them.
From what I understand from Jimmy, over the years, a lot of it was a donated amount. So I guess it's just been in the last couple of years. Well, I think right now some of it is just starting.
But that was something that was not expected. I think it was an assumption that it was going to be nothing since it was a.
Well, you remember that, don't you?
Yeah, I sure do. That's right.
So, but when did it
I
change?
think it just started because what they did is they know more equipment's going on top of the tower.
We're changing, so they're
So
changing.
you're telling me that last year, year before last, they didn't charge anything?
Right, I
Not fair
think they
thing.
always had, I know the old Shore, when Jimmy said that they always went to them as volunteer fire departments, and, you know, a lot of times people donate, you know, to a volunteer nonprofit. And I think a lot of that, but now the sheriff was also, he's not nonprofit, but he can tell you more about
But
it.
they still let the sheriff
I think he could
do
tell
the
you
same
more.
thing for years.
Right.
So
It's more equipment, it's more weight.
right. So
But they didn't have to do nothing to secure it further, right? It sounds like to me it's a way to collect money that you didn't know you could collect from a gentleman's agreement that you had 20 years ago. I ain't seen no new construction. You said more weight. I ain't seen them brace it up or
I
nothing.
think they had to brace it up on south side.
We did brace.
And I
it.
But we
think
got how many is it?
You got to put
We did brace outside.
you got to put buildings up underneath it too. A building goes up on it with this new system.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the old, the
Footprint.
39,000 you're paying. How many towers is it? Is that right? 6? Is that correct?
Well, we only, yeah, 6 total.
Okay.
39 is
when you
just
add the
one
spur
guy.
link.
So you tell me right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about now.
Yeah,
What
we're not paying anything right now. Well, we're just getting started.
Yeah, like I said, just started the conversation
Right.
because of the increase in the radio
See, like Southside Electric.
radio system.
Well, and I'll give them an example. They told me, well, Steve, Dinwiddie been paying. Y'all got to pay just like Nottoway. And they didn't, he didn't know that Nottoway won't pay him.
But they made an agreement with the county, each one of those people years ago.
I
I was told by the
ain't-
person that was in on the agreement.
Well, we got to find it in writing because I can't find it.
I think it was a handshake. But
You think it was a hand? That ain't good business.
but what we,
Hello.
well, you know,
That's what's happened up till now. That's what the problem is.
So let me say this.
I like this.
All right. So what I'm asking CTA to look at and say, hey, what's the tipping scale where we need to build our own tower? And they looked at the numbers, maybe 400,000 for a new tower. And I believe that if we put one at Blackstone Primary, and I kind of planted the mustard seed with Dr. Martin about that, and she kind of rolled her eyes a little bit, but she said, I'm listening. But could we fence in an area back out there, back of Blackstone Primary, and then we could do away with some of these other towers that we ain't got to worry about anymore?
Well, you take them other towers, if they want to charge all that money, then we need to consider a tower tax, an annual tower tax, and we don't want any more than what they're going to charge us. We just want what they're going to charge us.
And see,
Applied to them.
Yeah.
and see, I think that's something we need to talk about as state and general assembly representation is if it's a radio public safety, it should be something out there in the code that says you can't charge me so much.
Or anything other than what it cost us.
Right.
Like maintenance.
Right. It's just,
like the
you know.
person told me that Kinston, I think the person said it was Kinston, had a meter that the county paid for the electricity.
we do.
See, and he said that's been like that forever. Never charged no more other than that electricity.
That's correct. It was, I get that. It's $35.67 a month, I think it is, for the meter. But now, I want to say this to the viewers and you as well, just reemphasize, when we say Kinston, I was told to make sure we say SBA. SBA is the company. We're not dealing directly with
I
Kinston.
understand. Yep, you're right.
Just so people know that, the Kinston Forest is not the one going up on the rent. It's SBA, so we want to keep that clear. And all of them are tower owners, right, Mr. Bowen?
Yeah.
All of them
Their
are owners.
investments, I mean, they're trying to make money.
That's right, that's right. So, but what I would say, Mr. Toth, is talk to Jimmy tomorrow, and I'll talk to him as well. He's probably texting me right now, but I believe it's like Mr. Bowen said, that just started. And he can tell you more about it, and Sheriff can tell you more about.
And this new system is going to be a higher cost to maintain. It's got a generator. It's got a generator at each one, right?
Correct.
Each tower will have a generator, keep equipment.
Yep.
You got to maintain that stuff. So
We
just
have a
let you
bigger
know.
footprint. We'll have a shelter building that holds the equipment of climate control. We have a gas tank, a LP gas tank, and a generator. While I'm at the podium real quick, Mr. Chair, I knew I was going to leave somebody out. I want to say kudos to Crew Police Department, Phil Morgan and his crew. And I don't know if Burkeville came the other night, but Burkeville PD, Blackstone PD were on standby, and Crew PD. We love our PDs. I mentioned the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, buddy.
All right, Administrator Bowen, the courthouse PPEA update.
All right, so, Mr. Chairman, so I guess y'all heard that it was noticed that there's a lot of red paint out the back here.
I heard that.
Okay. Anyway, so And let me say this right now, because Mosley caught me, and he said, and one of the representatives of Mosley said, Steve, please say this publicly. Judge Teefee is working with our contractor, okay? He's working with them. He's open-minded about things. He's having a conversation as long as it meets the code of Virginia. You know, that's what he goes back to. So, but one thing that happened, and I got to be careful what I say, because what are we going to do in April? Y'all don't really know what's going on as far as the discussions. English has the 30th to give the judge's lawyer our proposal, okay? That's the 30th of March. We're going to write a check to to English April 1st. And then after that, we need to have some open discussions so people know what's happening.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm proposing is English wants to come meet with the board, a special meeting, and he puts out the print to show what is going on and what's the proposal and why it meets code. And the biggest change that I would say that Judge Teefee, it's the circuit court group, but anyway, they want that circuit court clerk right beside the circuit court. You know, if evidence comes over, he ain't got to worry about the sheriff, anybody going over there to get it, somebody don't rob it, they want to be able to wheel it right back in there. And I didn't realize this. A trial, if an inmate is on trial, the juror don't need to see that inmate in handcuffs. When they walk in the courtroom, that person's got the right to sit there with a suit on just like you do as a defendant. And if they see that person with handcuffs or something, I think it's a mistrial.
I think if it's led by him in shackles, but it's pretty common to see the orange jumpsuit with them shackled in court because they are incarcerated.
Right. But I'm just telling you some of the things that I didn't
I think what you reference is when he walked past the jury, and it had right.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we had one case thrown out because a juror rode up in the elevator with an inmate. So I mean, we can't have that. No.
But anyway, I just want you to know that. So look for some more things in April after March 30th. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And they have like 15 days. Let me back up. I keep hearing we need to hit a pause button. I got to tell you this. And Mr. Elder made it clear to me. The defendant don't have a pause button. The plaintiff has a pause button.
And let me make
I'm saying that right.
And
we're the defendant.
We're the defendant, yeah.
And the plaintiff is the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think when we went to Appomattox to look at that courthouse, somebody there made the comment, well, we wanted to change it, and the judge told them, no, you're going with what you got. They couldn't make any changes after.
They tried to move it across the street. They wanted to do a referendum, and then the judge
said no.
And they ended up squeezing it in there, and the judge wouldn't let them attach it.
That's right.
Ended up with that little 4-foot.
Yep. Right. Anyway. Okay, but that's all I got right now for this, sir.
I'm on CPMT, and we've not met in 2 months. We just get an email that says approve the spending. So we approve the spending, and it's been weather related. I reported on the jail. Anybody else have anything for their committees?
I would like to make an announcement on behalf of Piedmont Senior Resources. The CEO, Justine Young, has retired, and we're getting through the process of organizing a job description and sending that out, but currently Jeff Engel, who is the COO, is filling in the interim, but PSR continues to thrive and move forward. Justine gave a lot of years to PSR, but again, she has retired. And also, as far as filling that seat, I am in communication with someone. Arlene Robinson passed away, and we do need to fill a Nottoway County seat for that. And hopefully by the next board meeting, we will have that seat filled.
Mr. Bowen, we've got Burkeville boundary line adjustment.
Yes, sir. If y'all would take a look at I-2, this is the corrected boundary line adjustment. The Burkeville has done their part. I'm here to ask you tonight would y'all let me put this as advertised for the April meeting to approve? If you look over to the right, that's the old dumpster site. Let's see, hold it up here like this. That's included old dumpster. So they taking that, we know when Greg mentioned about the convenience store, but the biggest thing that need to be changed is right there, well, that's the Miss Wilson's place. She wanted that dip right there, and she wanted to be out the county because.
Out the town.
Out the town.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry, thank you. Out of the town because Burkeville cannot give them sewage and water under 36460, okay? See that little line where that's 36460, the little orange line.
You don't want to attack somebody that you can't provide service.
Right, and they had to dig their own well. Burkeville has rectified that. If y'all are agreeable to this boundary line adjustment, we would put it on the docket.
Or you just want to agree?
Well, it has to be a public hearing. I'm asking for a
I'm
public.
talking about what do you want us to give you permission to?
Yeah, and I don't know if you need a vote on that. If y'all just do the census.
Okay with advertising?
I'm fine with that.
You okay?
Well, they are taking part of our dumpster site, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right here. Right? That's Inverness.
It's right here. Oh, you mean our existing dumpster
Right,
site? Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about over here.
They're taking that 8 acres. It's going to be inside of the town.
It's going to be in the town.
Which is a good. It was a good thought. That's a good place for future.
It is.
Future economic development if that dumpster site won't out.
That's right.
Right.
All right, I think everybody had agreed that it was okay to go ahead and advertise.
Okay. All right. That's all I need, sir. It'll be on in April.
You may, you're going to see Blackstone coming also. They've
Yeah, I've
started.
heard that.
I went to the public hearing for the town council. Listen to that. There's at least two, and maybe a third one. Two of them have been asked for by the owners, and it's related to the size of the lot that you can have in town for a subdivision as compared to what you can have outside of town. And then the other one is in conjunction with going out Route 40 and deciding how far they want to go there. That one that's the town, so that's not a citizen asking, so I don't know how that one's going to go.
Okay.
And Ms. Norton, vacancy?
I am working with Jackie, the library director. She has someone that is perhaps interested. They had a meeting today, so the person was going to attend the meeting and then should give us an answer in the next couple of days. So I should have an appointment at the next meeting.
All right, and then there is a vacancy on Crossroads. Ms. Norton is the new member there. I was the member last year.
Yes.
But we do need a citizen member from Nottoway to participate at Crossroads. Please get in touch with myself or Mr. Bowen.
Okay. That was excuse my memory, but was that Holly Gates Coates?
That was, yes. Yeah. She had, regrettably, she had to take some personal time.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chairman, I know you're trying to catch up here. J1, I think we knocked out.
Yep.
I've got the resolution here in hand. Everybody had a chance to read it?
I did, but I don't think there's, unless it's alive, I don't think we need to do this next year. Keep it for next year.
I talked to Dr. Martin about it, and it's a thought. I'm not saying they already approved theirs. They had to prove theirs because they didn't really know it had died in committee. I keep going to say conference.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sonny. So you could approve it and say you could approve it and we'll send it out next year. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. It's either way, or we can make sure we get it there early next year.
I'll give you an example, Dickie. Several years ago, Nottoway County approved being a Second Amendment sanctuary.
Yes.
And people have forgotten that.
Right.
So I think somebody found the article for me and sent it, so I was able
I got the same one.
I was able to share that around, say, yes, we are, we're Second
we
Amendment
already are,
sanctuary.
yeah.
We already are.
Right.
All right, that's fine.
So fresh in your mind is my question. So if it comes back up next year, or we can do this and try to say, hey, we've passed this, please put it forward for us.
Right.
As Dr. Martin said, whether you did it as an individual or as a group.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
You know, I was hoping that we could use that for the primary project, but it sounds like we can't. So I was just thinking maybe it's a way, if it does get approved next session, of course, it won't go into effect until July of 28, maybe 27, whatever.
What do you think about we do a joint resolution with the school, and we, right now, bring it to VACO's attention, because VACO is representing us as a lobbyist.
Okay.
And then they can get it on their calendar.
They can make sure to get on the calendar.
I think that's a good idea.
We'll do that while we're here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll move we approve.
You gonna read it?
I'll read it. I can read it.
Okay.
Whereas Nottoway County School, wait a minute, resolution in support of Virginia House Bill 334 and Senate Bill 607. Whereas Nottoway County School Board faces the needs for funds related to capital projects for the construction or renovation of its school buildings, and whereas legislators in the General Assembly have introduced House Bill 334 and Senate Bill 607, which would authorize counties to impose an additional local sales tax and use tax at a rate not to exceed 1%, with the revenue usable only for such capital projects and provided a levy is approved in a voter referendum, and whereas this legislation promotes local decision-making, presenting the community with the opportunity to choose an additional sales and use tax to ease the financial burden placed on Nottoway County Public Schools in its construction and renovation of school facilities, and whereas this Board of Supervisors believes that if passed, the additional funds generated from the proposed tax will allow Nottoway County Public Schools to address construction and renovation needs and ultimately to provide a higher quality of environment for the education of its students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Nottoway County expresses its support for Senate Bill 607 and urges its passage. Approve this day, 19th day of March, 2026. I move we send this resolution on.
To VACO?
Yep. To VACO and
To our
whoever else.
lobbyists.
Yeah, okay.
The Senate's closed, so the lobbyists will send it on.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. We've got a motion. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you,
Passed
Mr.
4-0.
Mr. Chair, that's, the next one is the resolution I added on to, with VACO, that they're asking us to, and I think I've got that in front, I think this is right here, if you can read that.
Right to
That is your right to work, that's a collective bargaining.
Yeah.
This could be very costly for all counties, especially the small rural counties, so.
So I'm going to read this, and then we'll see if there's a motion. This is resolution of the Nottoway County Board of Supervisors opposing mandatory collective bargaining legislation, HB 1263, SB 378. Whereas current Virginia law provides a local option allowing governing bodies to determine whether and how to engage in collective bargaining based on local fiscal capacity, workforce needs, and service priorities. And whereas HB 1263 and SB 378 would eliminate this local option and impose a state-mandated one-size-fits-all collective bargaining framework administered by a Public Employee Relations Board, PERB, and whereas the legislation shifts authority away from locally elected officials and imposes an unfunded mandate with significant fiscal and administrative consequences for local governments and taxpayers, and whereas Virginia's localities vary widely in population, resources, and service delivery models and are best positioned to make decisions that reflect their unique circumstances, and whereas mandatory collective bargaining as proposed would divert limited local resources from core services to new administrative and bargaining structures without dedicated funding, eliminate local flexibility to align workforce decisions with budgets and service needs, create unpredictable fiscal obligations through arbitration and expanded dispute resolution processes, increase administrative burden, litigation risk, and long-term costs for local taxpayers, and whereas local governments must maintain balanced budgets while continuing to provide essential services, including public safety, education, and infrastructure. Now therefore be it resolved that the Nottoway County Board of Supervisors strongly opposes HB 1263 and SB 378 and any legislation that mandates collective bargaining for local governments. And be it further resolved that the board urges the governor and members of the Virginia General Assembly to preserve local authority over workforce and labor relations policies. And be it finally resolved that the clerk of the board shall transmit this resolution to the governor and members of the Virginia General Assembly, approved this 19th day of March, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I want y'all to think for a few minutes, and I hope you'll approve this. What if all the landfill workers right now went on strike? What do I do? Somebody better start driving the truck. I see Woodson out there, he got a license,
Yeah, then he's
but
got-
he gonna be
he's got-
expensive, he
then
gonna be
then he's gotta
expensive.
He's gotta cross the picket, cross the picket line.
Yeah, yeah, I ain't talking about the picket lines.
Steve,
take
if
a
my help
motion.
don't show up, I do it, so you'll have to do it.
Yeah.
You off that.
I'll be calling both for help.
I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve this resolution and send it.
I'll
to-
second.
All in
to the
favor?
appropriate persons.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carried 4-0.
So,
Next is my amendment to the agenda, I think.
Yes.
yes.
All right, so
I
I've got a
remember talking
copy of
about
it.
this.
We do, but however, I've been sitting here texting one of the two clerks. No one never told them. So we have, since it's been done back in October, they've not collected $1 because it was not told. So they are eligible to get about $2.88 or $2, I know it's at least $2. Discussion had been made in the General Assembly for up to 10, but per case in the General District Court, per case, and the Circuit Court and the Juvenile Domestic Relation Court.
Wait a minute.
So they just didn't, they hadn't done it, but now, while sitting here, I had it emailed to me and I forwarded it on, so now they know. So they're gonna start collecting in the morning.
So we sent an email, just so, and maybe we told the wrong people. We sent an email and told Jane and Mary Childress, but we told the wrong people?
If you told Jane and Mary Childress, you told the exact right people, but apparently, maybe Mary don't recall. Or maybe the code was not correctly
right,
numbered.
Bo.
Not from the county, but from their number.
Bo, look at your treasurer's report for this month, because I looked at it. It says cost of court fees, $415.56. It says courthouse security fees, $4,170.20. Is that something different from that?
It is, yes, sir.
That's something different
Yes,
from
sir.
that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll take full responsibility for
No,
that.
no, it's no responsibility because
Right.
I think the code that you was asked about was their incorrect code number. So it ain't nobody's
Oh,
fault.
okay,
It's
okay,
not, you don't
okay.
have to take no, I'm not,
No,
I'm
well,
not
I'm
doing
glad
that to
you
you.
called
And
it.
I'm not doing it to
No,
to
no, I'm
none of
glad-
the
right.
staff here you know, but no, that's all right. I think it was, the code was incorrect that was being asked about.
Okay. So now, but do I need to send anything?
You don't need to
up?
do anything.
Okay.
You don't need to do anything. I already did it, just a little while
Well, you
ago.
know, and let me, can I say this? This is a prime example, and I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but I sure do like it when the constitutional officers come in here.
I do too.
You know,
I do.
because I just, anyway.
But some of them are a little bit petrified to come in here, and I don't really blame him either. You know,
Well, I'm petrified coming here sometimes.
I'm petrified to come in here every time.
I think Catherine's petrified sometimes.
Well, Catherine, can you tell us what exactly we need to do to make sure this is collected? Because evidently we're not collecting, and we've passed it, we would collect it, so.
Yeah, I think if the resolution, and I talked to Andrea about this, I think I drafted the resolution.
Thank you.
I remember finding out that we weren't doing it.
Yeah, so I think we have done all that we can do. I think if the clerk's office, I think if Steve, you want to reach out to the clerk's office and
Okay.
see if they
Both
need
clerks.
something from legal,
I already sent it
I'm
to
happy
them.
to do
Yeah,
it.
he's
I
already.
sent them the draft. They already got it.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Well,
So they didn't know about it.
Follow up.
Could
Yeah,
I
yes, sir.
suggest too, and Andrea's got enough on her plate, but Andrea's good when she takes the minutes. Could we add action items at the bottom of our
That's
minutes
a good
and
suggestion.
see if there's any action items at that
Right.
night that we need to move forward?
Ooh.
And then,
Right.
So it's more work, so they're the constitutional officer, they're not required to pay attention?
Well, one of the clerks, actually, the general district clerk is not a constitutional officer. So,
All right.
Well, that's true.
and she's gonna collect the money
So
for
an
us
action,
too.
an action item memo from the board meeting.
well, I think that's a great idea, and I'm happy to do whatever they need me to do. to make sure
Thank
we
you,
get
ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
I know Steve Bourne's way is knowing, but my action items, I put a star beside everything that I'm supposed to do.
well,
before I can, but I'm
looks
not,
like
that's
you
not
need to
always
go
the right
get
way.
your CDL,
Anyway,
Put a
Mr.
star.
Bowman.
I'll put a star on now and follow up. I call that landing the plane. We didn't land the plane. Anyway.
Go get your CD.
Okay, we've got consent and corresponding information items. I had questions about the school funds. Yeah, that was taken care of by Dr. Martin. Did you guys have any other further
I
notes?
do have a couple of things to point out.
Okay.
I know a lot of the citizens have complained about audit and things like that. We have a charge that we paid in February to our auditors, Robinson, Cox, and Farmer. When I saw it, I was in sticker shock, but I called 4 other counties today that I deal with on other boards, and this amount is the going rate. We paid them $47,000 to do our audit. But I want to be fully transparent. We have to have it done. It's required, and that's how much it costs. Also, I wanted to point out on page 42 of the consent calendar, and I apologize, Steve, for not asking this sooner. I looked at this last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. Ingram's Concrete Finishing, facilities repair at the bowling alley, $3,675. What was that for?
There was a grease trap on the grease trap had fell off the back. There never was a pad back there. And that was at the time, I would not let him in the building. He said, can I pour a concrete pad for that grease trap? At that time, we had told him that we were moving forward with the bowling alley rental. And so to get him to sign the release, he would like for him to get his money for that pad. And I thought that was very fair because it's an improvement to the bowling alley and the grease is no longer on the ground.
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Anybody else have any notes? Consent, correspondence? Take a motion to accept consent and correspondence items.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0. County Administrator Report.
Oh, this shouldn't take about a couple hours.
Oh, no.
You know, something come to my attention tonight, and then I'm gonna give the rest of my time to Dr. Martin because she she wants to explain that $6 million, and I'm thankful that she's doing that tonight. But there's something else come to my attention. Are we confusing people? And I think Mr. Bo, I'm gonna say Bo. I think Bo said we need to stop saying LRA. We need to stop it because it don't really exist. It's not. We don't have authority anymore. It's dissolved. That's right. And so I don't know if I'm doing that to confuse the citizens. Maybe I'm thinking I'm doing it sometimes. I catch ourselves in the office saying, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm going in the LRA. You know, so.
Well, let's
say Pickett Park.
Let's give it a name.
Call it Pickett Park.
Pickett Park? Okay, let's call it Pickett Park.
Okay, stick with it. Okay, but I want to say that. Dr. Warren, would you explain to the board, I know you didn't want to leave. Well, she likes our board meeting. She loves it up here.
She found the $6 million.
She found that $6 million.
Did you spend the $6 million?
So I'm thinking what that $6 million is that you're talking about, because I sat back here and went through all the grants while I was waiting, and I was like, well, I write the grant, so it would have to be something I've written. I believe the $6 million you're talking about is the ESSER 3 funding that I shared, that a piece of that funding was used for some HVAC purposes at the different schools. There was the HVAC grant that was the ESSER funding. But then ESSER 3 was a little over $6 million for the school division. But that was for not just HVAC funding, could not be used just for HVAC funding. That was used for continuity of learning practices. It was used for salaries where we had not behavioral specialists, we had math interventionists in there. We paid some of our school nurses out of that funding for a while. So that's the only $6 million that I know that we got from the federal government, which was ESSER 3 funding that I shared with y'all tonight, that we had a piece of that went towards the high school part, a piece went to the boiler, a piece went to the ionization things at the school, and I think that's the money that you're talking about, because that's the only $6 million in grants that I know that has come into the school division.
All right, so
other than the EERE energy grant, that's the $12 million.
Right.
I think that $6 million you're talking about was that ESSER 3 funding that came out of the pandemic, and there were pieces that were used to do pieces and components of HVAC, but that's not what that grant was solely for.
Okay.
If that helps y'all.
Thank you,
But
Dr.
I
Moore.
sat back there and went through and I was like, I write the grant, so I'm not sure what they're talking about. So
And
I
this
hope
is-
that clears that piece up for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is bad, but sometimes I think if we had another pandemic, we could build a courthouse.
No, thank you.
Vice Chairman
I just
Coates.
throwing out ideas.
Yeah.
Are we closing comment?
Close your comment.
All right, just for clarification, the previous, excuse me, the previous circuit court clerk received an email about, what we just were talking about. On that, and apparently forgot to pass it along to the, I don't know what fell through the cracks there, but something
Well,
obviously
see,
did.
everything changes.
But now we get it. I don't know who's gonna pay us the back money from not collecting from the ones that didn't. All right, we gotta talk about little Johnny, Dr. Martin. Well, it was little Marcus, so I done renamed him Little Johnny. And little Johnny is a whole lot worse. We'll stick with the little Bill. We don't need no little Johnnies.
Am I correct? If you knew me when I was little, my correct name is Billy.
Billy the Kid. So I got a lot of public pushback from a comment that I made saying that the early childhood development, or pre-K, if you will, was a way out from many parents of a way of child care. And where I should have worded it, and I did word it, and people forgot to mention that, I'll stick by this, it's a way away from their children. Many of them, not all of them. Many parents have children that can't stand to be around them. And here's why I say this, because I was told that they hadn't been read to. There's not even a book in some of them's house. They've never had a pencil or a pen in their hand. We're talking about 4-year-old kids. Whether I have a problem not with the child, because they didn't ask to be born into this world. They're innocent. I have a problem with the parent. If you can't read to your child, or teach it to draw numbers, write numbers, and try to practice his name, or draw a smiley face, you got a problem as a parent. And I said it, and they can come on for me. I'm here for them. I'm going to sound like Rook now. I'm here for them. I said it. So that's little Billy. And the next thing I got, so a lot of people took out of context. That's what I meant, and I'll stand by it. If a parent would like me to offer them some guidance and services, I'm available Sunday evenings after 4 o'clock. And my children will make mistakes just like any of them, and I did as well, but I did hold a pen in my hand before I was 4 years old. That was the biggest one that got my blood pressure worked up, because I've been lying for that. Oh, go back to the $4.5 million. I'm glad we got clarification on that, because I've been asked about those splitter units by 2 different people, and it makes sense that it would require a lot more electricity load. I had something else.
Just load, I don't think the wires are there.
Right, and it ain't available.
There, you're cutting poles.
Right, it's not available. I think that's all about the little Johnny. We have a little bit of a, and all counties probably have this, but I don't like controversy much. And there's been a bit of controversy between the county board of supervisors, 1 or possibly 2, that has made somewhat of a hostile environment toward our county staff members. And I'm speaking for myself and at least 2 other board members that if that continues, then there will be actions taken. And I don't want nobody to say, well, who you talking about or what you talking about? I'm going to sound like somebody, and again, if the shoe fits, wear it. And I do mean that, because we're family and we're supposed to love each other and try to take care of one another and help each other, and we do not need to cause that kind of atmosphere, because who wants to work here if that's the case?
Well,
you got to be held to accountability, yes.
This board only has 1 employee.
That's correct, the administrator. That is correct.
Employees are his.
They serve underneath him.
They work for the county.
That's exactly right. But we can govern each other and try to help us, keep us in our lane. Because I want y'all to help me, keep me in my lane. I will get out of it. Help me come back. But most of the time, I'm gonna have said what I wanted to say anyway, and then you can put me back, but you've already heard what I got to say. Having said that, I'll pass. I'm finished.
Supervisor Norton.
Love all y'all.
Oh, excuse me, Supervisor Ingram.
What do you think, Mr. Ingram?
I made some comments at the work session. I stand by those comments. Of course, once again, it's headline news, which I guess it should have been headline, I don't know. But I think we need to all work together. And I think if we've got things that we're given by our attorney, told it's privilege, we need to keep them privileged. And I was upset. And the reason I was upset was because I got on the internet that afternoon before I came to the meeting, and there it was. And I guess I blew my cool. But I couldn't understand why that happened. And I still can't understand why it happened. But I'm hoping that this signing this agreement and Mosley and English cashing that check, then we can open up to the people. Because I've had people ask me a lot of stuff. And I just tell them, I can't tell you. I said, we're in a situation where we're under a court order, and we're being told by the people that are working for us, hey, keep your mouth shut. You should not be talking about this. And so I've stood by that. I mean, I've had people ask a whole lot of things to me, and I just say, I can't comment on that. I can't tell you that. And I just, like I said, I probably blew my cool the other night, but I was really serious about what I said. I'm done.
All right. Mr. Rourke's not here. Supervisor Norton?
First off, I don't know if the full board has given condolences to our social service director, Shannon Reed. She lost her father recently. And the second thing I have is to encourage the citizens in District 3 to attend the CEP Solar Town Hall on the 25th. It's a very small project. I have talked with them some, but I'm looking forward to going to get further information. And the third thing is I ask, and especially these Facebook warriors out here that tend to throw us under the bus, to extend me a little grace. I don't talk about my personal business. I don't talk about my business, but I will be going out for a rather extensive surgery, and you're not going to see me for a little while. So whoever's on Facebook and wants to make up some crap, there it is. The board has known about this for some time. And not to defend Mr. Collins, but I will tell you, I was supposed to be the chair. And the reason I'm not is because I'm going out for this surgery, and I didn't feel it was fair to my citizens, and this board decided to appoint Mr. Collins again. So again, the Facebook warriors have at it, but please extend me a little grace. I will be out for 3 or 4 weeks. I will be available by phone, and that's all I have to say tonight.
Our thoughts and prayers with you, Ms. Norton, for your surgery.
Thoughts and prayers, yes, ma'am. We've all had some challenging health situations in our families here in recent months. It's been very difficult. In regards to releasing confidential information, our attorney said you all can do it, but you all have to do it together. And so what happened there was we lost the opportunity for discussion in a closed session about, okay, are we ready? And I believe I was going to push for it that night to go ahead and do it, and I'll be honest about that. We're still working hard on it. The budget time is very difficult, and we're all looking at different numbers. We got budget day next week, I believe.
Yes.
And that's going to be in the EOC, so it should be videoed. So this is when our different departments are going to come in and ask for their slice of the pie. Some of the pieces are getting a little bigger, and some are the same, and we'll look at them as they go. But that will be available this year to be viewed. If it's not live streamed, then it'll be available the next day. So that'll be informative for citizens to see who asked for what. And with that, I'll ask for a motion.
I so move.
I second.
All right. I so move. Okay.
It is unusual.
We need a second. Please stand up. Okay.
All in favor?
Tired.
All right. I started taking mine, bro.
I'm gonna tell Billy Coleman he's gonna get me a divorce if he keeps putting it on the front page.
You
She and-
want your part of the